Jofil then called, "Raise my banner high. Malkier lives on this day."
Let's go. Wow, 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 wow. Ooh, what's up, Internet? My name's Nerdy.
And I'm Clarus.
And I should have been more hyped during that. That was so weirdly low energy.
Yeah, I was like, Lan is alive. And you're like, yeah, cool.
You know what? I was thinking about a lot. We haven't, done this in a while.
Yeah.
And I was, trying to make sure that everything was working.
No,
because I almost didn't hit record. And so I was just sitting here trying to make sure that everything was working. And
that's what happens when you take 2 weeks off.
Then you said that, and I was like, that's really cool. Let's go. And then I was like, I did not put any energy behind it. This is the Nerdy.
The Wordy.
The Book Club. Our final book of the Wheel of Time begins now with a memory of light.
We're already that far into it.
I know.
It's
Big
so
chunk.
Crazy.
Big chunk of a memory of light down. Big chunk of memory of light left, though. There's going to be a lot to talk about today. It's going to be a long 3-hour show, because it always is.
At least 3 hours, let's be honest.
But if you're like, 3 hours is not enough Wheel of Time content, I want 6, you can go and watch the reaction that we did to the prologue, which is also 3 hours long. Where did you think I was going with that?
I had no idea.
That was commissioned by Arazu. Thank you, Arazu.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it.
Hell yeah. Blue, welcome back to the Nerd Table.
Avengers Endgame stole that scene. They absolutely did. We will get there. We will get there at the end of the show.
Yeah, that's fine.
We'll get to portals.
That's fine.
And Rantel Moore just being like, on your left.
Chat, how you doing? It's good to be back.
It is good to be back. Sorry we were gone for a bit with the relay, the role play relay, which is live on YouTube. You can watch that now. There's also a bunch of new role play relay merch up in the store if you want. There's a Death and Divine shirt, and there is an Avril Leviathan shirt. Both those were designed by Zombaby, who played Grunge on my day shift.
Yes.
If you want those, they're going to be up forever.
Yeah.
I'm probably the only person who's going to buy an Avril Leviathan shirt, but I want it so bad because the design is so good.
I don't think so. I think people are going to like that one.
I think that if Night Crew hadn't dumped her by the side of the road like animals,
rude.
She would have been more popular.
Monsters.
We will always have Avril Leviathan in our hearts.
Thank you, Dakuna, for dropping that link. That is the link to the merch store.
Get you some merch. Get you some book club merch. We got the Matt shirt. We got some other stuff. Before we get into the show today, we have a shit ton of housekeeping, so bear with us.
Yeah, buckle up.
First of all,
Dead
Iron, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you, Dead Iron. We're back.
Viva la Book Club. Speaking of books, Dead Iron, thank you for that super chat. We also have a huge thanks to say to Kenny Teology.
Thank you, Kenny.
Kenny sent us some books. To the
for the reading.
To the post office box, our PO box, which is in the thing below. He sent us the first 3 books of Dragonlance, and he sent us this David Eddings compilation of Pawn of Prophecy, Queen of Sorcery, and Magician's Gambit.
Volume 1.
The Belgariad. So, Kenny, thank you so much for sending us these books. That is very sweet. I'm so excited to dive into these. I don't know if we're going to book club these, but I think I might try and read them and do a review on the channel. Okay. I'm excited to read the Dragonlance books. As you guys know, I love Dungeons & Dragons. Not the company, Wizards of the Coast can suck a chode, but I love the game and what it means to me. So I'm excited to get into these because I've not read any of them.
Yeah, I mean, I read the first and maybe the second Dragon. I have read a Dragonlance book.
Cool.
And I'm sure if I opened it up again, I'd be like, oh yeah, I've read this, but I don't remember it very well. It's a few years ago now.
Alex190330, thank you so much for joining the Nargs of the Nerd Table.
Hell yeah, welcome in.
Apparently Eddings is a problematic author. Good to know. Cool. We will not be doing book club about him.
Okay, yeah, well just read those then.
Maybe. We'll see. I might look up what people are talking about, because I've heard the name before, but I have no idea who he is.
Well, here's the thing. We didn't pay for the books, so reading them doesn't help him in any way.
So. We actually have a Dragonlance map in our map room.
Oh.
Which is just our living room. But I like to collect fantasy maps. Not we have the Wheel of Time one here, which isn't in the map room. I like calling the living room the map room. It makes it sound fancy.
Sure.
Even though it's just the maps that come with books. in like RPG books and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, it doesn't matter. I like it. It makes me
Fine.
happy. Everybody can just shut the fuck up, okay? Calm down, chat.
It's the
Pissing me
cartography
off.
chamber.
The cartography chamber.
That's great. I love that.
I'm getting a sign made of that. Yeah, I'm very excited. There's literally 2 maps.
There's soon to be a third because the puzzle.
Oh,
we're
gonna put up the puzzle.
I did the full Middle Earth puzzle. It's like done. We just need to find a frame and like you know get it on the wall.
Yeah, the map room has the Tal'Dorei map from Critical Role from the Tal'Dorei Reborn book, and it has the Dragonlance map from the Dragonlance Rise of the Red Queen RPG book.
Yeah,
the D&D
because
book.
they looked cool.
Yeah.
All
right, second piece of housekeeping. We are very excited. It has been a while since the book club has had a partner, but we're back to having a partner on the book club.
Mm-hmm.
That partner is Misty Mountain Gaming.
Hell yeah!
Misty Mountain Gaming makes the best dice. Yeah. They just do. We
Hands
are
down.
now they were partners for the book club.
Yeah,
for the roleplay relay.
And they were like, hell yeah, let's do more of this. And we were like, hell yeah, let's do more of this.
Yeah, and so we really loved working with them. They're wonderful. We love their product.
Yeah, they also have a lifetime warranty.
Yeah.
So if anything happens, they're like, oh yeah, we'll just replace that.
If you break your stone dice, please tell me
how.
how.
What are you doing with them?
But yeah, so we are keeping up this partnership. We're keeping on talking with them, and they were like, "Hey, we really actually think that you guys make some great content. We would love to be full-time partners of the channel." And we were like, "Hell yeah, we would love that as well." So if you want dice, if you want the best dice in the business, go to mistymountaingaming.com and use code nerdynightly15. If you remember when this show was sponsored by another company, you know these ads slowly become more and more chaotic. So get ready, because Misty Mountain Gaming will drop us eventually, because I'm going to say some weird shit, like audiobooks are just the souls of dead trees or some shit like that.
I don't even remember half the shit we said, but it was a good
We did
time.
great ads for that company, and I'm so excited to make similarly chaotic and insane content for Misty Mountain and see how far we can push this partnership.
I don't know if they're
until
ready
they
for us.
inevitably are like, guys, never
Too much.
delete.
Do not talk about us.
Delete the portions of your shows that do have our name in them, and keep our Dice's name out of your mouth. Okay?
Your goddamn mouth.
Use code nerdynightly15 at mixmountaingaming.com. I just picked up the Labradorite werewolf set, the Lycanthropy Full Moon. They're the most beautiful things I've ever seen, and now I'm looking for a campaign to play a werewolf so that I can use the dice. Yeah. So if you have a campaign where you need a werewolf, let me know, because I want to play a werewolf.
Nerdy to guest into your campaign.
I just want to be a fucking werewolf in Dungeons and Dragons, all right? That's it. I just want to be a furry. I mean, Misty Mountain Gaming. If you buy their dice, you'll be a furry.
Yeah, that's how that works.
See, we're already on the unhinged ads.
Crushing it.
How you feeling about that, Sophie? What's up?
Sophie's gonna be like, oh god, I have regrets. Winter on the way.
She's gonna cancel dinner.
For the super chat. Good art, bad artist. Fair happens. As far as I know, all Eddings proceeds go to charity because the author's issues and nothing goes to the estate. Well, that is actually really cool.
Oh, he's dead?
Yeah, he's dead.
Oh, okay, they're not really
Yeah, fuck him. We also wanted to invite you all to come check out.
I would love, like, oh, my dad fucking sucked. I don't want his money. Give it to charity. That I get. I can stand behind that. Like, no, guys, buy the books. I don't want my dad's money either. We're gonna like help children get toys for Christmas or some shit.
Yeah, whatever the charity is.
Speaking of that, if you want to help out a charity, come back Monday for an announcement. We're going to be doing a pretty big charity stream near the end of the year, and the announcement of what that is going to be, I think people are going to be very excited. It's going to be a very fun way for this community to get together and do something really insane, and all the proceeds for that are going to go to a charity. If you know anyone who is like a company that needs a tax write-off and would like to join us, be a matching partner or something like that for that charity stream, let them know that we're available. We will take any matching partners, because we want to end the year by doing good, because we've had such a good year thanks to this community. You've made so many incredible things possible, like the relay, like book club, like all of this stuff that we would not be able to pull off on our own. It happens because of this community, and I would like to gather the community before the holidays for a moment of putting good into the world.
Yes.
And so come back Monday for that announcement. That's gonna be 11 a.m. On the nightly morning show.
Nightly morning show. We're gonna talk about as well the roleplay relay. So if you have any questions about any of the behind the scenes stuff or how it all went down, like we're gonna sit down, grab a cup of tea, and spill some tea.
Yeah, we won't spill tea. This is our technology room, and that would be bad.
Right. Yeah, keep your moisture away from your electronics unless it's water cooled properly.
Yes. Yes. When you buy a vibrator, make sure that it's waterproof before you take it in the shower.
That's true.
And go to MistyMountainGaming.com to buy dice.
Those weren't even related. It was a bit of a stretch, but
I'm trying to get dropped by this partnership as fast as possible.
No, I appreciate the effort.
We are speedrunning getting dropped by Misty Mountain. That is the goal.
Should we start like a countdown timer?
Yeah.
God damn it.
Is there any more housekeeping? Is there anything else we need to talk about?
No, but thanks for everyone who watched and supported the relay, because it was a good time.
This charity purchases much needed medical equipment for doctors abroad is sponsored by BadDragon.com.
Hell yeah, that's the kind of sponsorship I want.
BadDragon.com is sponsoring the charity that fixes your asshole after you sit on a dildo from BadDragon.com.
Yeah, you might, honestly, some of those, you might need some medical assistance afterwards. Anyways, we are reading...
Bad Dragon, we really want you to sponsor us.
I know.
I love your product.
Please.
I'm not even joking. We desperately want to work with BadDragon.com. You don't even need to pay us. We just send us one Bad Dragon. Send us the largest one.
We'll mount it on the wall.
And it will hang here forever.
Yeah.
No, we'll put it on like a pulley system so it just dips in and out of frame throughout our videos. And then oh my god. And then oh my god, it's such a funny ad because you can be like, this video was penetrated by baddragon.com.
No, fuck off. Oh, you know how
and it's just a giant dragon dick dipping in and out of frame.
You know how people have instead of doors, they have beaded curtains? God. We can just have a bunch of the tentacle ones that you have to push through to enter and exit.
The mini ones that they make. It's just a bunch of hanging little dragon dicks. That is so funny.
Anyways, we're here to talk about the Wheel of Time.
All right, Robert Jordan's dead, so he can't be upset that we're talking about it this way.
Yeah, that's how that works. Guys.
If he was alive, his estate would reach out and be like, you guys have to stop.
There's a reason that all of our videos are limited monetization.
I don't even care anymore. Nah, YouTube, I don't need your fucking money.
Blue is gonna quit as the executive producer. You fucked up.
Blue, you can't quit as the executive producer.
The thing already happened.
Yeah, you have the title. That's how executive producer works. You just get the title and then... Yeah. Here's a peek behind the curtain of Hollywood, that place that's currently shut down because of the greed of 5 men who are all worth $1 billion. The title of executive producer is basically just hoisted on people because of any reason, right? The executive producers of Buffy were the people of the TV show, were the people who made the original movie. They never stepped on set. They got paid every single day and they had no power and there was literally nothing they could fucking do about the show. They no matter what the quality of the show, granted, look, Buffy, very important to me, as a child, as a young queer kid. But executive producer is just a title you get, and then you go see the movie, and you hope that it's good because your fucking name's on it, and that's life, Blue. I'm teaching you a lesson in entertainment producing.
In producing, yeah, you don't get a say.
That's
you
all.
You just have to hope that it's good.
If you want to be a producer, now that's a job.
Right,
executive producer is a title.
Right.
Gotcha. And so you can hate this all you want, but your name's on it, Blue. Like Dick Wolf. Your name is on this shit, and there's not a goddamn thing you can do about it.
I want to send my sincere apologies. Yeah, the relay happened. It's done. Go watch it. Go let it play in the background. Give it some views. Give it some likes. Mm-hmm. Why not? And while you're here, why don't you like this video? Because you should totally like this video.
George says, I always wondered about the difference between producer and executive producer. There are executive producers who do a lot more. It is just that when you see the title executive producer, it doesn't fucking mean anything.
Yes.
It literally doesn't mean anything. You can get executive producers. A lot of movies have 15 of them, and sometimes it is literally hey, this person actually owns 5% of this IP, and so they have to get the credit on the movie in order for that character to be in the movie, but they don't ever put money up, they don't work on it. Executive producer title is just sort of a catch-all term. sometimes executive producers are on set every day working on the project, and sometimes they don't know that the movie's coming out. There's just a background deal that they have to be titled on it. Right. And so executive producer is a title that means a lot, but also means literally nothing. And it's very hard to figure out what an executive producer's part of a movie is.
Yeah, because sometimes it's 0.
Yeah, but then at the same time, you have people like Dick Wolf, who is the executive producer of Law & Order and is very hands-on with that franchise.
Right, for sure.
Or like James Gunn will be credited. Fucking Kevin Feige is credited as the executive producer of all of the Marvel projects, and he's very clearly very integral to each piece of those movies.
Right.
And so it's one of those titles that doesn't it can literally be anything, and it doesn't really matter.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that was a lesson in Hollywood with Nerdy Nightly.
Yeah, if they are just producer though, they worked on the movie pretty like that is a title and a job that involves doing things.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyway,
so there is a difference.
There is, yeah. Yeah. All right.
The Wheel of Time.
What is the Wheel of Time, babe?
It's
it
actually has no beginnings and no ends.
Here's the thing. It is the final book of the Wheel of Time. And so Clarus and I had we'd come up with a fun game. This was like 6 books ago.
We did?
Yeah. Where we said that right before we do the final book, Clarus is going to recap each book in order. And so Clarus in like a brief 2-sentence description, recap the first 13 books and New Spring of A Wheel of Time.
How brief?
Eye of the World. What happens in it?
A bunch of children get kidnapped to be heroes.
Great Hunt. What happens in it?
Said children are introduced to foreign enemies and also not foreign enemies and fight them as best as they can.
Dragon Reborn. What happens in it?
Main character gets Sag Boy syndrome.
Fires of Heaven. What happens in it?
Main character fucks. No, wait. That's Fires of Heaven.
Yep, that was correct.
Wait, Shadow Rising is...
Oh, wait, Shadow Rising's 4.
Yeah,
wait.
You said...
Shadow Rising, what happens in it?
I was... Okay, so Shadow Rising is... the Shadow Rises.
Great. Then Fires of Heaven.
Fires of Heaven is main character fucks.
All right. Lord of Chaos.
Lord of Chaos is... everyone gets a little bit angry and lots of death happens.
Crown of Swords.
Crown of Swords?
Or Path of Daggers. Which one's next?
Crown of Swords.
Wait, where's the book?
Crown of Swords.
Crown of Swords.
Yeah, Crown of Swords. Bad guys try and stop main characters and fail miserably.
Path of Daggers.
Next.
Do you have any idea what happens in Path of Daggers?
Nothing happens in Path of Daggers. Bowl? No. That's the next one.
That might have been in Crown of Swords.
No. Bowl? No.
No, Bowl is Path of Daggers.
No, Bowl is
because Rand... Rand... Path of Daggers, Rand does the Sanchin fight, where he kind of loses it, and it's because the magic in that area is weird because of the Bowl.
Main character goes more crazy.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, Winter's Heart.
Bowl.
No, Bowl already happened.
No, Bowl!
No, Bowl happens in Path of Daggers.
No, it's the beginning. It's the only good part of that book, right?
Nope.
Winter's Heart. It's really cold, and they have to fix the cold.
Crossroads of Twilight. Winter's Heart had the cleansing of the taint.
Mm-hmm.
That was the big moment.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Crossroads of Twilight.
Next.
Over the course of 8 days, a bunch of characters do dick all. Knife of Dreams.
It's Groundhog Day, but for each character individually.
It's Groundhog Day for the audience.
Yes, Groundhog Day for the audience. Sorry, what was the next one?
Knife of Dreams.
What?
Crossroads of Twilight, then Knife of Dreams, yeah.
Oh, fuck, right, because Knife of Daggers. Knife of Daggers. You see, you should have just said that. I would have totally mistaken. Knife of Dreams is ghosts. And bad food. Tummy aches
Gordon
all around.
Chen, thank you for that super chat. The roleplay relay was incredible. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I definitely encourage everyone here to check it out. Hope that getting it funded didn't put you guys too much in the red. It did. Sad that it's over, but very glad to have book club back. Us as well.
Gordon, thank you so much. That's incredibly, incredibly generous.
Gordon,
Thank you.
All right. No, we're fine. Guys, we're fine. I'm joking.
No, we're good. It was all worth it, and we're so happy.
We only lost like $20,000.
If not, that is...
I'm kidding.
Okay, that is
a joke.
That is
it's a joke.
Okay.
The Gathering Storm.
Wait. Oh, okay. Gathering Storm. Useless character becomes useful.
Okay, I like that. Because that could mean Rand. It could mean anyone. Towers of Midnight.
Old man rescues new wife.
Oh, Tom, right. It's like, who the fuck is old in this series? All right, and now, before it begins, having not read the end of the book, recap the events of A Memory of Light.
Boom, flash, bang, pow, the end.
Love it.
Great.
That was the Wheel of Time in sentences.
I think I did great. I don't know what you're talking about.
A Memory of Light begins with the prologue by Grace and Banners Fallen. Clarus, how did you feel about the prologue? We did our full reaction to it.
Yeah, I feel like we felt a little bit differently. I was kind of enthralled the whole time. I was digging the setup because it definitely felt like setup. You know what I mean? Sean, shut up. I don't care about your logic. I want to hear it. Thank you. Yeah, I enjoyed the, like, there were very plot heavy, important, like, forward momentum moments.
Yeah.
But it was like wow, I can't English today. But it was paired with more like flavor and ambiance as well. And I think if I were to give any critique to it, the bouncing between the two might not be everybody's favorite.
Yeah.
But I liked that both were included in the prologue, if that makes sense.
I agree. I thought that it started off very slow. And I think that for my taste, I would have jumped into it a little bit quicker. I felt like the Baird thing was a little bit long.
I think it was a bit longer than it needed to be,
Yeah.
but I also think that the whole Jared thing was a plot thread that was left untied, and it kind of needed to be gotten rid of.
I agree with you. I think my problem with the Baird thing is that, and with the Leolwyn thing, those two POVs at the beginning of this, and the Assam POV, right? Because I really like the Talmanes POV. I would have started it a little bit further in. I don't think we needed the, like, Talmanes riding up the road part of it at the beginning.
Assam was the only one that I didn't love. Yeah.
The first part of the prologue to me was just a little bit of a trudge. And then the second half of the prologue is fucking excellent.
Right.
And we'll talk about how an act of cowardice ruins the prologue for me when we get to chapter 1. But the first half of the prologue to me, the bear thing just went on a little bit long, and at no point did I not know where it was going. And so the twist in it just didn't feel like a twist. It just sort of felt like we finally got to something that felt very obvious the way that the whole thing was written.
Yeah.
And so it didn't really do much for me. The Assam point of view was really interesting, except I don't know what any of the fucking words meant. And so it was just introducing a bunch of concepts through the POV of a character who already knows what they all are.
Yeah, that part was a little bit frustrating in how it was introduced. Because we're 14 books into a series that I've taken time to get comfortable with the language of it, with how things are named, that kind of thing. To introduce so much new stuff seems a little bit strange to me in the 11th hour. Because my brain was not in, I'm starting a new series and, like, trying to figure out a new world. My brain is in, I'm already familiar with this world. I don't know what these mean and how they fit into it. So that, was definitely jarring. I hope it comes around, I hope it wraps up. I hope that it's there for a purpose, and I'm sure it is. But in the prologue, I was like, I'm sorry, what? Who are these people?
I understand why the Assam stuff is there, because I think that it is a response to the issue that I've had with this series of like, oh, there's not really anyone threatening to our main characters. And so at the 11th hour, this book is like, here's a bunch of new magic shit that's really dangerous that hasn't been a part of the series until now for some reason.
Yeah.
And like that feels very weak to me. But it's also necessary because they have to fight somebody, and Trollocs and Fades aren't scary, right? There's no time a Fade enters a fight anymore where I'm like concerned. And so they have to introduce something else. And I wish that they had done that through the perspective of a character that didn't already know what all those things were. Because Assam is so comfortable with those terms, but we as the audience aren't.
We're like, what?
And so as our point of view, I was just kind of sitting there being like, okay, cool, he knows what this is, but I don't.
Yeah, and we were like we're like, okay, wait, who are the talentless? And are they the same as the Seminasai, or are they different? Like, it was all kind of a little unclear.
Yeah, and so that to me was just, it was one of those things where it was like, I get it, you needed to introduce villains because your villains have sucked, but this was a way to do it where like, I still don't really care. I don't really care about them because you threw a bunch of like nonsense words at me, sort of like Divergent. And I brought that up in the reaction, was that it was kind of like in Divergent when they're like, we're Candor, and Candor means that we're honest people, and then we're the fucking erudite, and that means that we're the law people. And I'm like, cool, those things are different, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure. This just kind of had that same vibe to me. And then when we get to the Leolwyn stuff, I really, at this point, think that Aguinin, who there was a point where she was one of my favorite characters.
I know, I
because she was
remember.
introduced in such an interesting way. The character assassination of her has been so, like, just kind of fruitless. And so I don't know, the end book has so much to do, and I don't see what her purpose in any of it is.
Yeah,
and I don't know.
Because even at this point, you know, if one of our main characters teaches her that, like, you know, like, we don't keep slaves here, or whatever it is, it's not like Leolwyn's coming to understanding of it. It's like put upon her by, you know, characters that we already love, who have already done so much good. And so for her as a character, it just doesn't really mean anything anymore, and it's a bit unfortunate. I think, like, having her point of view in this, obviously, like, having her meet with, like, Nynaeve and tie off the ends of, like, that collar that you were supposed to toss into the ocean, you know, what happened, and them having that reconciliation, I think was interesting, but I don't really care about her perspective anymore, and that's super sad.
Yeah, having said that, those are all the things, that's like the first half of the prologue, and I think that the first half of the prologue is a little bit fine, and has some stuff I don't love in it. Then we get into the stuff about the prologue that's fucking awesome, right? Yeah. The Talmanes stuff gets real good real fast.
Yeah.
He is a leader in a way that he wasn't before he met Matt, and you can see this chapter did such a good job of showing the ways in which Matt's friendship and him being a commander under Matt has influenced this character to be the leader that he is now.
Yes.
And I think that it's a really smart choice to take this character who's gone on this, like, background journey that we've only seen snippets of.
Yeah.
And see him go from this, like, pompous sort of, like, cold, everyone thinks he's cold asshole.
It's fucking
who's
hilarious.
In this place because he is a lord and, like, he just kind of gets that.
Yeah.
To being what I would consider to be a very, like, empathetic and open and kind character who's using his brain and using the skills that he's learned from Matt to really accomplish something wonderful here. While also acknowledging, like, he's like, I wish Matt was here. Like, Matt could do this better. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know that Matt could, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you crushed it. And Talmanes gets this arc throughout this chapter that by the time you get to him finding Eludra and finding the dragons, you're like, oh my god, like, I can see the character growth in him, not because the book is telling me that he's grown as a character, but because the book is showing me how he's responding to the situation, and it was just so enthralling.
Yeah.
Like, genuinely, the Talmanes stuff in this chapter was so enthralling. Yeah. And
super well done. I mean, and it was foreshadowed in a way that, like, was pretty clear, but still narratively interesting. You know, when it started with, when we got Talmanes, and then we went back to Talmanes, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, this is going to be his arc through the prologue. Yeah. And he's not gonna make it.
We'll get to that.
Yeah. Tell Amar, thank you for that super chat. Talmanes is my Wheel of Time crush. I understand. He's hilarious. He knows how to lead a force of people and recruit them and, keep on keeping on, and we respect it.
Keep on keeping on. The plot of this is that Talmanes is rescuing Andor, or attempting to rescue the people of Andor as it burns.
Yes, Andor is has been invaded by Trollocs and is burning to the ground, and it's not looking good.
So we cut between that and these other things. Aguianin goes to Nynaeve. We kind of talked about that. It's fine. I don't really...
I liked that moment more for, like, Nynaeve than anything else.
Sure.
Just because, like, Nynaeve has a right to be upset, and, like, she is, but it's not, she doesn't lose it. She's just... She I don't know. She just feels like Nynaeve. Like, it just feels very real.
Talmanes gets hit by a Thakandar blade, so he is dead. Or should be. They take the gates. We cut over to Avienda, and this is the Avienda point of view, and then the Andral point of view next. This is where and then we have the Moridin point of view. This is where the like side point of views in the prologue started to get a lot more interesting to me.
Yeah.
I really loved the openness with which the wise ones shared this information, and the lines that Avienda drew between what she felt like they needed to know about what her visions of the future had been. And also this was one of the few, the wise ones are one of the few groups of women in this series that I feel like have respectful conversations that aren't super snippy.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciated them kind of passing around ideas about what this means and what this could be without like shooting each other down or trying to jockey for position.
Yeah.
And,
none of them were using this to like gain like politically an upper hand, because that's not how the Aiel work. And so that's why I really love the Aiel in this series overall.
Yeah. This scene is great. What did you think about the way in which they discussed what this meant for the glass towers? For
Ruidian?
Yeah, I think they had a really interesting conversation about... I really like the way it was written. This conversation around what are the what has actually changed and what are the possibilities of that change. And, we get into, like, this incredible Bayer moment at the end.
Yeah, I mean, they talk about the fact that, like, there's a reason that it's forbidden to go back through the columns. Because some people are not equipped to handle seeing the future. You know what I mean? That is such an incredibly dangerous notion that, I completely understand why somebody did that and then they were forbidden, and so no one, like, would do it again, because... the wise ones are clearly strong enough to lead people and to understand the history of their own people, but it takes a special kind of person to be able to see the future and not be devastated by that.
Yeah.
And to actually understand the implications and the consequences, and maybe how to go about shifting it without, like, fucking it up even worse. I want to go back. Methany, thank you for the super chat.
Just you discussing Talmanes give me goosebumps. Matt caught glimpses of his sense of humor in the last books, by the way. Such a great pal for him.
Oh, yeah.
I wish it was, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it in chapter 1.
I mean, with Matt catching his humor. Like,
a little bit here and there.
Having seen Talmanes from Matt's perspective and then seeing Talmanes from his own perspective, I think was fabulously done. So, like, I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah, 100%. And honestly, like, his humor is so funny to me. Yeah. And I think that I can be dry like that sometimes. And so, like, I have a lot of... I'm a very exuberant person. Unlike Talmanes, I know that we're not the same. But sometimes I do love that, like, dry, very straight-faced joke. Partially for me, it's because it's not what people expect from me. But it just really worked for me. All of, like, Talmanes' inner monologue in this... as he was frustrated, like, watching him be frustrated that his humor wasn't coming off as humor was very funny to me.
Yeah. Blue, thank you for gifting 5 memberships.
What's up, executive producer Blue?
Hell yeah, making that chat green. Appreciate it.
Felix, thank you for that Sec 269. Nice.
Thank you.
Sex 269. A year since I finished Amel, and I can't let it go. I still get chills thinking about it. Also, thank you guys so much for the roleplay relay. Looked like you really had fun. We really did.
For sure.
I haven't finished watching it yet, but I'm going to. Thank you so much, everyone who's still watching it. That's incredibly kind.
Yes, and thank you for that super duper chat. That means a
blue
lot.
emote. Ooh, we might need to make a blue emote. I don't know what it would be though.
Is it just blue?
It's just a blue square. Everyone drop blue squares in the chat.
Yeah, we can figure.
Thank you, Felix. Appreciate that.
Something out. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I think I really love the Bayeux moment also because of the acknowledgement of her being like, we need channelers.
Yep.
You know, we need channelers for this, and I can't. And I'm an older woman who maybe doesn't have the biggest part to play moving forward.
Yeah.
In a war, you know? And I think that is a real... Part of it is like, I'm the best person for the job. But I also think part of it from Bayeux's perspective is that I would like to have a job in this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so she does have this scene of like, I'm the right person to go.
Yep.
I'm prepared for it. I'm emotionally available for it.
Yep.
In a way that like I'm ready for this. And I don't know. I really appreciated the conversation between Avi and Bayeux. It really brought, I think, a lot of the themes of what the Aiel are in this series to a head in one conversation.
Yeah.
These people who are so driven by purpose.
Yeah, because they also like don't like value like power levels over everything else, right? Like she has the same amount of respect as a wise one, and she realizes that like her brain is what's going to be the like her contribution to the last battle.
Yeah.
And she's not gonna go, you know, fight head to head. She's going to be smart and put her brain to work as opposed to this magic skill that she doesn't have, right? She knows her strengths and she's like willing to use them to try and figure this out for the good of everybody involved. Because obviously, I wouldn't want to see the future. Like, I think that is in a lot of ways incredibly like self-sacrificial, because she's gonna have to bear the weight of everything that she has seen in the columns, and that like that's not nothing. I think that is just as much of a sacrifice as the people who are like fighting for their lives.
No, I agree.
In a sense. Arazu, thank you for the super chat.
I'm sorry you can't watch live today. We'll have to catch up later. Just wanted to say have a great book club back. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're already off to a great start. This has been a fun one.
Yeah, and thank you for commissioning that
We've already
reaction.
talked about Bad Dragon. We have a new sponsor. Things are good.
It's a good day today.
Y'all.
We're gonna go on a date.
We are going on a date.
Yeah, what are we doing?
Can't say on live.
You gonna take me for dinner?
I'm gonna take you somewhere. Do you want to talk about? We'll talk about it.
No, I was just gonna get date ideas. We're bad at dates. We were like.
We talked about what we're doing tonight. Do you want to talk about that on live?
A possibility.
Okay. Do you want to bring it up? Do you want to?
No, I was just saying like.
The last time we did book club, we were like, we're having a threesome tonight. So do you want to talk about what we're doing tonight?
No, I just mean we finished at 2:00, and I expect date night to be from 2:00 onwards. So.
Oh, it's date day.
It's date day.
I mean, because of what we're thinking of doing tonight, we might want to eat dinner earlier so we're fully digested.
Oh my God.
I'm just saying.
Jesus Christ.
Anyway.
Okay.
The Aiel part of this chapter with Aviendha also brings up one of the funniest it has to be on purpose moments in the Wheel of Time, where Aviendha or one of the wise ones says, "They are soft, but he means to make them hard."
Yeah.
Which is like Brandon Sanderson.
Brando
my
Sando, guy.
My dude. My diddly dang dude. Look, I get it. You're Mormon, right? Here's what I know about the Mormons. Do you get it? Here's what I know about the Mormons, okay? Utah is the state that is the #1 consumer of the pornographic industry online.
Yeah. They're the horniest state.
They aren't supposed to watch porn, but they do. So I know that you know what you were doing here. There's no way this was accidental. Why? Why? Tell me that it's human nature. Why? Did you do me that way?
That one was just for you.
It was just for me.
Yeah. Because you got to make them hard, you know? When they're
soft,
you gotta make them hard.
And he knows that we are already hard. That whole exchange, I was like, what the fuck is happening? Why? Like, there are so many ways to talk about the people having thicker skin that aren't. We need to make them hard because we're already hard, and they need to get on our level. Like, there is no other meaning to that, Brando Sando.
No, I think that it was perfect. It's perfect how it is.
Anyway.
Yeah, leave it. Don't touch it. No editing.
We cut back towards Talmanes, which is fun because Talmanes runs into Gaibon, which every time I hear Gaibon, I think of like candy. Like a bonbon? Yeah. I don't know why. It's just Gaibon sounds like it's like a French like sweet treat. Sure. And
he's a sweet treat.
Gaibon tells them that the dragons are in another castle.
In another castle?
It was a Mario joke. The princess. But basically, like, I don't want to get into all the Talmanes stuff because it's a little bit just mechanical. But like, it is actually very interesting because there's this whole exchange where his people are like, we have to go to the dragons first, and he's like, if we go to the dragons first, and they're gone, then we're just surrounded and we're fucked. If we go to the palace first, then we have the palace guard behind us because the palace isn't burning, everything else is burning. So we can kind of we'll have a better shot of getting the dragons back if they're still there if we go to the palace first and like have a rear guard.
Yeah, like prioritize, but prioritize intelligently and not blindly. I think it was a really interesting way to like to kind of like put this question to our characters, right?
Yeah.
Because if the Trollocs get the dragons, that's like very bad, no good, worst case scenario. But they can't just go charging to them because there's not a lot that they can do about it. So.
And there was a point in this Talmane stuff where I was kind of like, oh, they keep skipping past the action. Why do they keep skipping past the action here? And then I realized that none of this was about the action. It was about the choices that Talmanes was making. Yeah. And so they kept skipping to his decisions. And once I realized what the structure of this was, I really started to work for me. I struggled with it at first. It took me some time to vibe with the prologue. It really did. Partially because I didn't like the pacing changes between something that felt very immediate and high stakes and these conversations that didn't. Yeah. But once I realized that this whole prologue was really, like, the theme of it was making a decision and what it means to make a decision and how difficult it is to make a decision, I think, like, in hindsight, I enjoyed the prologue more than I did in the moment while I was trying to figure out why we were skipping the action, why we were cutting to these other conversations. Yeah. And it goes back to why the like Leowyn and Isam stuff didn't work for me as much as the rest of the prologue. Yeah. Because the rest of the prologue has this very strong thematic underpinning of decision making. Yeah. And those kind of felt like tacking something on because it needed to be handled. Does that make sense?
Yeah, fair.
Or that it was part of the prologue because it was released early to tease the final book. Right. And I think that there are some editorial decisions in Wheel of Time that are, oh, this was in the prologue because we wanted to put it out before the book came to tease the new bad guys. Yeah. And that feels a little bit like a bad trailer for a Hollywood movie to me. And that's fine. You know what I mean? But the stuff in this prologue that was about decision making and had that thematic tie together, I think is so strong that I don't mind the stuff that I didn't love as much.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Glenn Peterson, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you so much.
So many little details in this book are so interesting. I want to be here for every moment of your reactions. Sings, don't want to miss a thing. I don't want to miss one trolley.
Actually,
we didn't talk about it.
Oh, we didn't talk about that. Y'all, if you're on Twitter, if you could go give Nerdy's Tweet some interactions. Episodes of our podcast are being removed from Spotify for copyright infringement. Which
doesn't make any sense.
Like, it's us talking for 3 hours, and so I don't know what copywritten material they're talking about, and they have not provided any context. They have not responded to us.
Yeah, Spotify's just removing stuff, so we're probably going to move to another service.
Yeah, they're just taking it down. So if you want to go interact with that tweet and share it, and maybe help us figure out what's the problem, that would be awesome. Because there are a lot of people who listen to the podcast. Yeah. And we don't want there to be like holes in the podcast feed because someone arbitrarily decided that like they were we were using copywritten material because like
100%.
we joke about the DMCA thing, but like it's not actually how it works. You can't sing a line from a show and
Spotify
have it
just
get taken down.
Won't tell us what is and it's like we've taken it down for potentially copywritten material, and I'm like, copywritten by who? Yeah. What material? Yeah. Like there's no recourse for me to find it. It's very bad. Spotify, your system fucking sucks.
Yeah, there's no person that you can communicate with to resolve the issue. They just take it down.
Yeah, every other fucking service in the world has like because we work with all of them. They have something that you can do about it. There's someone you can at least reach out to. And Spotify is like, it's potential and we took it down. Fuck you. And so, we've been with Anchor for a long time, but ever since Anchor became Spotify for podcasters, which has been just the worst change in the world for us, I'm kind of done with them. We're gonna find a new service that might impact people who listen to the podcast. You might have to like sign up to a different podcast feed. I'm sorry about that. Yeah. But we will figure out. We're gonna work on that in the coming days. Because all of Shadow Rising and all of Dragon Reborn are taken down now, which are two of the best books, and I don't want those podcasts gone forever. So.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to figure that out. Sorry for if you are a podcast listener for that inconvenience.
King Grogu sex worker Rojas says, Bantha poo to spotty poo, nerdy macaroons forever. Absolutely.
Thank you for that super chat.
Fuck, I want macarons.
Oh,
Kyle Franson, thank you for that super chat.
Hey, thank you.
I vote for the Bone Ships trilogy next. Ship captains, mythical creatures, and slavery bad. We're gonna get into that later.
We like that.
Because Rant really let me fucking down today. But that's a later chapter.
Rand.
I keep calling him Rant.
Yes, because of Rantal Moore instead of
That's so
Randall
funny.
Thor.
Rantal Moore created some great puzzles for the roleplay relay that
That's
you can
true.
see in the thing.
Hell yeah! Thank you, Kyle, for that super chat.
Including a Sphinx character that I really loved at the end
That was
there.
great.
All right. So, moving on. This is going to be, where are we? Talmanes and Guy, they do get to the palace.
Yeah.
Talmanes is, like, drinking heavily to not feel the pain of his wounds.
Of his wounds. Yes.
Which totally makes sense to me. Oh, the Stream Elements bot is still on.
Oh, I forgot to turn off the timers.
There's going to be some random shit in chat, y'all. Sorry about that. We'll deal with it later. Command Pray.
That one's still up.
Is it still up?
Oh, yeah, it's still up.
Wait, what are we getting with Command Pray today? Garrick is the authority who polices the 25-word limit of the message spell.
What? I did not see that one.
There are so many good ones, y'all. Command Pray got so...
The problem is you can only have 10 in the thing
I
at
know.
a time. So I'm going to have to go through and cherry pick my favorites and just have those 10 permanently.
Because our incredible stage managers of the roleplay relay were literally like changing them out every hour to make sure that it was always different.
I know. Guys,
hire good people for good jobs.
Yeah.
Our stage managers fucking crushed it.
Yeah, Will and Jack, y'all are the best.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Andrel. We get back to Gaibon and Talmanes meet up. They're gonna go get the dragons.
Go get the dragons. Yes. Cool. Yes.
Andrel, we have a really incredible scene with Andrel here.
Mm-hmm.
And this was the moment where my I don't know how I feel about the prologue fully went away. This point of view really set up a conflict between characters that I find really interesting. In a place where I understand what the stakes are and I understand how the characters interact with those stakes.
Yeah.
The larger conflict of this book to me is still a little nebulous, and we're going to get into that when we talk about the later chapters and the meeting with Rand and the leaders. But this is a very immediate situation that characters that I find very interesting are in, and I understand, this did a really good job of being this is the setting here. Mm-hmm. This is what's at stake. Our characters have to start moving towards something.
Yeah.
And I really appreciate the Andrel POV. I thought it was really well written, and it had that horror vibe that I have liked sporadically throughout the series.
Yeah.
It was very strong in this part of the chapter.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Because I'm I have been, I guess, but I know.
Can I add a monster to book club?
I know, that was very funny.
I'll run downstairs and grab a mini.
Just have a little buddy with us. Yeah, I've been really loving the Black Tower POV, especially the differences we've gotten between Andrel and Pavara, and we've kind of gotten both their POVs. I think have been really, really interesting, especially as they communicate with one another. Mm-hmm. And that sense of horror and dread and fear for these characters is really, really real, because you're oh yeah, they're literally taking people and force turning them towards evil. And that is what is at stake for these characters in this moment.
Absolutely.
There are larger things, like the fate of the Black Tower as a whole, and what it means to have that for Andrel, and having a place where people like him can be accepted and learn and hopefully do good. So there's that kind of larger umbrella of things, but the very real immediate issues are terrifying. And so that's why I loved reading these sections, because I'm so scared for what's going to happen for these characters.
Yeah, I think that what Brandon Sanderson is doing such a good job of with this Black Tower arc is that the small issues and the big issues feel tied together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The large issue of I've had some issues with the last battle being this thing that just feels so big that it feels so big, and at the same time, it feels like Rand just has to go to Shai Al Ghul, and when he does his thing there, the Trollocs will just fall dead, like the end of Phantom Menace. You know what I mean? And so, the last battle to me is this weird thing where, I'm why are we fighting it? Why not just go to Shai Al Ghul and kill all the Trollocs by killing the Dark One? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the large and the small issues of the last battle don't feel super tied together right now for me.
Yeah.
Thematically or like narratively, or this section to me feels very much like doing every small step they take in the Black Tower towards uniting, towards working against Tame, feels like it impacts the larger thing. And so the connection between the small impacts kind of rippling up towards the state of the Black Tower as a whole makes it very narratively satisfying to see our characters moving in the direction of their goals.
Right.
And so I really appreciate that. It makes the Black Tower to me kind of the most interesting plot right now.
Yeah. I hear that 100%.
And I really like that. I think that the Andral point of view here is the strongest part of the prologue. It was the part that I spent the most time thinking about after our reaction. And when we'll get into what happens there throughout this section of reading, but the chapter, this prologue itself, I just thought it was an introduction to a story that I can kind of like really sink my teeth into.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that. I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, very well done. Andral fucking, depending on how this goes, might be like one of my like S tier characters.
Yeah.
We still
Andral snuck in late and really fucking crushed it.
Yeah, we still need to do, we do need to do new tier lists.
There's too many. Every time I think about doing it, I'm like, I don't know how.
Well,
there's too many characters in this.
You can only add, I think it's 50 or 100 anyways. So Monkey had
that's the Sean's. Like we could do a Sean tier list.
Monkey had a vote to see who would make it onto the list. So
that would actually be very funny to see the top 50 Wheel of Time. We create a Google Doc that has all 2,000 of them. And you get, no, that's too crazy. I'm not doing it.
That sounds insane.
Joe White. Actually, there's probably a thing I could just copy paste.
Too much work.
Joe White, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you so much.
Catching up at 1.75 speed. You two seem so rejuvened since last book club. Love it for you.
We had a lot of fun with the roleplay relay, so it's been it's been good. It's been good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like the last book. Towers of Midnight wasn't my favorite book in the series, but I still really liked it.
Yeah.
But we were also you know what it is. When we were doing Towers of Midnight, there was so much stress around the roleplay relay and like getting that done.
Yeah.
And I think that I am in a clearer headspace now because I don't have the weight of that coming up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I agree with that. You know what? I think I understand what you're saying.
Being a producer is hard work.
Yeah.
Executive producer, though, could be, it could not be.
George has an interesting point here. Andral plays the role I had hoped Rand would do to bring the male channeler back to the bright side of life. I really like that.
Always look on the bright. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's fair.
We cut back to Talmanes. Throughout this, Talmanes does find out that there are channelers who are supposed to be sending messages to Elayne, but they're not because they're dead.
Not.
Dark Friends got them.
They can't travel because they need all 4 of them to travel, and two are dead, and then a third one also dies. So it's like,
which is like, Elayne, leave a couple people behind who can make a gateway on their own.
Yeah, like, did Elayne expect that they were going to literally go fight Rand?
We're gonna get into why I think why the reading so far this week has really put a sour in my mouth around Elayne, and why I'm.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Why I think that it's insane that Elayne is given the job that she's given at the end of this chapter, because military strategy is very clearly not something she's good at. But in a world,
it should go to Gareth Bryan.
In a world, or Riddell, or the other great captain that they fucking saved, or
yeah, fuck, what's his
name? Jaichim Karadin. Like, no, I'm kidding about that one. I just like the name.
Or even like Galad,
Gawain.
Gawain,
Matt, any of the characters that have
Matt's
done military shit.
That Matt's not there, though.
Sure. We're gonna get into why I think it is fucking insane that they were like, you know what? We need someone to lead multiple armies across multiple nations. Who's gonna do it? The 7-month pregnant lady, who's never led war in her fucking life. It drives me crazy. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. The prologue is so much better than the rest of the reading this week, unfortunately, and we'll get into why.
I will fight you on that because there's a lot of really good Andral stuff.
Lots of really good Andral stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of really insane decisions. A speech from Rand that drove me up the fucking wall, and the choice around Elayne is just fucking insane.
Great.
We'll get into why. It really felt like, fuck, we got to get some shit out of the way, so we're just gonna like get through this really fast. Mm-hmm. Will it make sense? Don't worry about it. We'll get to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we're with Talmanes. They do find Jessamine. Jessamine is the one survivor of the healers.
Yes. She's like, yeah, no, you're dead. I can't heal this.
Yeah.
We're like, oh shit, yeah, he's actually gonna die.
Yes. And they go to find the dragons, and Talmanes kills a fucking second Madral because Talmanes is a motherfucking badass.
Yeah, he's like, I'm already dead, so fuck it.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Talmanes is literally like, he takes it on the cheek. Mm-hmm. Literally. He turns the other cheek. He's like, you want to fucking stab me? Go for it, motherfucker.
Jessamine is like, what's wrong with your face? And he's like, oh yeah, I ate some cheese. It wasn't good.
I don't really... Yeah, fantastic. Talmanes, chef's kiss. And they go find the dragons. Aludra has saved them. Mm-hmm. Because the consequences don't exist in this world.
Yeah.
And so they get ready to head for the East Gates, at which point I was like, why not just blow a hole in the wall? And then Talmanes was like, we should blow a hole in the wall. And I was like, oh my god, am I Talmanes? Wait a second. Am I Talmanes? And then we cut to McGideon for really wonderfully written petty high school bullshit.
Oh my god. It was like the best written CW show I've ever seen. Yeah, so, McGideon's hanging out in Moridin's dream shard, you know, they chillin'. She's got her own Corsouvra, so she's, like, feeling good about herself. She's like, I'm not, like, free, but I've got my soul on my body now, so I can touch the source without... that's some crazy fucking shit. Yeah. Although Moridin still has the Sindane one, because, what is it, Last Chance? Is that what they call it? Last Chance for Sindane?
Yeah, she's Last Chance, and then Graendal is... No remorse or something. No
way out. That part's definitely interesting. So Demandred arrives, and then also a newcomer.
What the fuck is Demandred doing?
I'm assuming he's the one who took Camelin. That's his army.
But Moridin is the one making the Trollocs. Because we went to the place where the Trollocs are coming from.
They all have Trollocs.
I know, but he says that he's a ruler somewhere. So, but where?
Shia Ghul.
No.
No?
That's where Moridin is.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I thought you...
No, Demandred. Where the fuck is Demandred ruling? What is this nation that he holds?
Maybe he holds the Ways.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
He's like the leader of Machin Shin. Because how would they fight? If they could weaponize... If the dark side could weaponize Machin Shin, pretty dangerous, right? Like, how do you fight dangerous. It? I just want to know, like... Because Demandred is, like, the wild card in this whole series right now. Mm-hmm. And it's so funny that Moridin is like, Demandred is the one of you that's, like, kind of accomplished something. And I'm like, I don't know what it is, but sure, if you say so.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Anyways, a newcomer arrives. Super ugly lady.
Ugly.
Sucks to be Hessalam. Who if you watch the reaction, I was like, oh, it's fucking Graendal. Yeah. Because you take the hot lady and you make her ugly, and that's the worst thing for her in high school. But that's why they're villains, is because they never grew up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
why they're villains.
This was such an interesting POV. Because on the one hand...
Like I said, it was the best written CW show I've ever read.
On the one hand, it's great, right? Like, I think the writing's really great. I think that it is consistent with the characters as we know them. I think that the pettiness and the high school bullshit of these characters has been consistent throughout the series. On the other hand, it makes them kind of uninteresting villains to me. Like, the Mihail enters this scene as the most, like... Mazrim Taine becomes the best villain.
Oh, for sure.
In this scene.
Yeah.
Moridin... Demandred, and Demandred has potential. We just don't know what the fuck is going on with him. Like, maybe it's the town. Maybe that's where he's ruling.
The town that Assam is in?
Yeah. That might be
in
his,
the
like...
Blight?
Yeah.
Maybe.
But it was really interesting to have this, like, interaction between characters where the character that is viewed as the low-status newbie who doesn't know anything is introduced in a way that... makes the other villains in the series all look like incompetent morons in comparison to him because their egos are so brittle, despite the fact that they should have some awareness of the fact that they're getting their asses kicked constantly, and they don't.
And I honestly find that kind of hilarious. Like, it brings an element of comedy that I don't think is meant to be comedy, but I enjoy it because I find it funny. That, like, they all, seem like petty fucking high schoolers who have 0 self-awareness. But Casey says something interesting. We thought Demandred was tame for a while. That was, like, a theory that we were playing with. Apparently he was supposed to be, and that changed in, like, book 5. It definitely does feel like...
okay.
Like it was kind of set up that way, and then they were like, just kidding.
Yeah, and I think that's to the weakness of both characters.
Is Demandred that fucking dude who comes into the tent, Roadran or whatever, and Rand is like, wait, it's not you? And has a really weird interaction with?
No, it's not him.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Rand thinks
it's not Roadran, it's fucking Demandred who has an army of people who doesn't know.
No. Rand thinks that Roadran is Demandred. And so when Roadran walks into the tent, Rand walks up to him and realizes that he's not Demandred. And that's what that interaction is.
Oh, I thought it was, you're not Roadran.
No, he's saying...
But then doesn't address it to make him sweat.
He walks up to Roadran thinking that he's going to be meeting... He's excited for Roadran to enter the tent because he wants to confront Demandred. When Roadran walks in, he realizes that it isn't Demandred, and he's disappointed when he says it's not you.
That's less interesting, because I saw... Because that interaction happened, and I'm like, he's not Roadran. Oh, who is he?
No, but he's hoping that Demandred is Roadran, because this is going to be his chance to, like, get him on his turf and confront him. And then when Roadran walks in, he's like, oh no, you actually are Roadran. That is disappointing to Rand.
Wait, so he wanted to put every important person at risk by bringing Demandred into the tent?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, anyways.
Or he might not have acknowledged that it was Demandred. He was hoping that was Demandred. He was, like, preparing for Roadran to be Demandred, and he wasn't. And so when he says it's not you... He's specifically saying that, like, oh, you're not Demandred. You're not Roadran.
I mean, Elayne is in that tent. He's like, I'm going to risk my pregnant, like, lover and her babies.
I don't know. He's surrounded by a lot of people. Like, I don't think he's... There's, like, 90 people in that tent that can channel. I don't think he's very concerned about facing Demandred. I also don't think Rand views Demandred as a threat. One-on-one. I think he views him as a threat as a military leader. You know what I mean? But I don't think Rand is standing there quaking in his boots about... The place where Rand wants to fight Demandred is one-on-one. Because he's like, that's my fucking shit. Where he respects Demandred is in military strategy. He's like Captain Gene Poole from the Roleplay Relay.
Great name, by the way, whoever submitted that one.
I also don't know that he would immediately confront Demandred in that moment.
But that's why I thought he was like, oh, it's not you. And then turned away, like, as in, like, I'm going to suss this out later.
No, but it would be
it's kind of just less interesting.
If he was Demandred and him going, it's not you, why would he set off Demandred's alarm bells?
To be like, I'm going to fuck up your shit later.
See, but that is more dangerous than just immediately, like, shielding him and linking with the other Ashaman and just fucking, you know.
Maybe. I don't know.
Anyway.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure where Demandred is, what he's doing. Yeah. I think I know Rand thinks he's responsible for Caemlyn. I also feel like it would make sense that he is responsible for Caemlyn. He's got a big army. I agree that he's responsible for Caemlyn. I just think that he's also ruling somewhere where Rand wants to know where that is. Okay, maybe he's in Shara, like, and they're gonna, like, sneak attack in. Because we keep hearing about Shara, but, like, they haven't played a part in any of this, and so it feels very Robert Jordan that he would bring in an entirely, like, new country in the last book and be like, surprise, motherfuckers! I
would be very disappointed. If Shara plays a significant part in the rest of this book, and they have to introduce a whole other fucking thing, I would be disappointed. I don't care at this point. It's too late.
Okay.
Like, the amount of... It was kind of like... There was a point in the roleplay relay where Matt and I were kind of like, hey, it is too late to kill a player character now.
Right.
Because we don't have enough time left to introduce that character and have it be a satisfying part of the finale.
Yeah.
Right? And like, that is the reality of storytelling in a way that you wouldn't maybe do at, like, a home game.
We've already introduced the fucking Aiel vampires.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be weird.
I think this book has to introduce a lot of stuff because there aren't great villains. But I also don't want it to spend all of its time just introducing new stuff right at the end, because I think that like there's so many plot lines that need to be fucking tied off, and I don't know. I feel like this series is weirdly not in the best place setup wise for a finale.
Where is Demandred?
I don't know. Ancient Hydra, thank you for joining the Nards.
Welcome to the
Appreciate that. And Steak is Meat.
Steak, it's good to see you. Hi.
Rand is just waiting to be reborn as a dragon.
Yeah, you know what? He just gotta be reborn as an ancient gold dragon, then he's gonna fuck shit up.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be great.
All right. We now have the Mahale is raised to be a chosen. He's no longer Mazrim Taim. That name is dead. And Moridin reveals that he's been training Dreadlords, which is what Andrel is all up in his panties about.
Yeah.
But
Demandred is really like cocky. He's like, I have something to contribute.
But Mazrim Taim says, Moridin says that the Mahale gets to fight Rand. How do you think Demandred feels about that?
Not gonna happen.
I think Demandred might fuck up Taim's Black Tower plans in order to, like, I honestly think that Rand might win at the end because of Demandred's ego. And that it's going to be Demandred being so pissed that this was given to Taim and not him, that he fucks up the shadow, and his ego literally gets in the way.
Does he explicitly say that?
What?
I feel like I can't remember.
No, he explicitly says that Taim gets to have the dragon's head. Like, that's literally, it is very explicit.
Oh, okay. I think I missed that, but damn.
Yeah, I think Demandred does not like that, and it's going to be a problem.
Yeah.
For the shadow.
Yeah.
Because their egos are why they lose.
Well, yes. They're chosen because they're selfish, but they also fail because they are selfish.
Yeah.
We get our final POV.
Talmanes. Oh, Michael Kioski, thank you for that super chat.
Heck, thank you.
As a fellow male, I couldn't be happier for Taim. Fair. You know what? He
worked
spirit
hard.
boarded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He manifested, and he made shit happen.
Yeah.
Taim really is the crypto bro of the Randland universe.
Yeah, honestly,
he sold a false bill of goods, and it worked out.
He did like the Crypto Zoo or whatever it is.
Mazrim Taim is the Logan Paul.
Yeah.
I am notoriously in a feud with Logan Paul on TikTok. He is truly the Logan Paul of Randland.
Yeah. That checks out, actually.
Yeah, he's raising a bunch of Dreadlords.
He's raising Ancient Hydra, thank you for that super duper chat. Psyched to see you starting the finale. I had to finally become a narc. Thank you so much.
NF Tame!
The roleplay relay is awesome, but I barely saw either of you because work, so I'm watching Day Shift this week. No worries, I totally understand. It was a lot of craziness.
Thank you, Hydra. I appreciate that.
But I appreciate you going back and watching it, filling in those gaps. It was such a good time. I know you're gonna love it.
So they, we get this final moment where Talmanes listens to me, takes my advice, points the dragons at the wall, blows a fucking hole in the wall, and then he passes out as they escape. And we get what is like one of the like greatest like death lines for a character ever written.
Yes. Yes.
What would have gone down in history as making Talmanes truly like one of those historic deaths in media. Which is when he toppled, slipping into unconsciousness, the ground seemed to tremble from the force of his fall. What a fucking way to die.
Yeah.
What a memorable, incredible death moment. How many characters have such an incredible, memorable, impactful final part of their series? Part of their life.
Yeah.
In this war against the shadow.
Yeah.
Talmanes, I'm so glad that you went out like that, because you got a moment big enough to that you just wait. Talmanes is fucking fine. Cowardice. It's cowardice. It is
Go off.
It is authorial cowardice.
Go off.
And it is fucking up this series. Kill your character. Let them. It is war. Let them fucking die. Stop doing this. I was so moved. I was like, this is fucking huge.
Yeah.
What an incredible moment. Oh, wait, no, he feels him.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are the stakes of this world? You know what I mean? There are no stakes. This is a cartoon series where Bugs Bunny is getting blown up over and over and over again, and he's always fine. And, it's supposed to be a war show. It's supposed to be a war against the shadow. And every named character is just great. They're fucking dandy. And I'm just like, why are you undercutting this incredible moment?
I don't have an answer for you.
And I was so hyped at the end of the prologue.
Yep.
And then the wind was taken out of my sails so fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry. I'm not like trying to shit on it. I know that people say that I'm too negative, but like, I really, really, really feel like we are coming towards this final battle. And the final battle to me doesn't fucking matter because I'm just like, well, no, everyone survives fucking everything.
The Dark One's back. Nynaeve can heal it. Don't worry.
And like, what when people complain about the final scene of season 1 of the show, not to promote the show, but whatever, but like people are like so up in arms about Egwene healing Nynaeve there. And I'm like, what are you fucking complaining about? Have you read the Wheel of Time?
Yeah.
Everyone survives everything, and it's fucking, unless you are a wolf, everybody survives everything. There are no stakes. This is a stakeless world. And it was so disappointing. Like it was, can you imagine if Talmanes, can I pitch you the version of this that they should have done? That would have been fucking sick.
Absolutely.
Talmanes dies here.
Mm-hmm.
The ground toppled with the weight of his fall. It's fucking huge.
Yeah.
Matt blows the goddamn horn at the end of this book, and Talmanes rides into battle with him one last time as a hero of the horn.
Shut up. I hate you.
Do you know what I mean?
That in my head.
It's right fucking there. It is the easiest fucking thing in the world.
What if Talmanes was Guidal all along?
But like, it is so simple. It's so simple to kill Talmanes here, to have stakes in your world. Yeah. To have Matt have this like emotional devastation of not having been there when Talmanes fell, when Caemlyn fell.
One more time.
And instead, they saved all the fucking dragons, and Talmanes fucking lives. And so I'm like, again, why do I care about this? What about this war with the ultimate bad guy? And Rand in the meeting scene is like, hey, look, we are not as strong as we were back then. They were getting their asses kicked and they had all these abilities. And I'm like, you guys don't have any of their abilities and you're never getting your asses kicked. You're fucking fine all the goddamn time. Kill Talmanes, make him a hero of the horn, give the fucking book some stakes. Yeah. Stop writing this war series where nobody has any consequences or failure. It's exhausting to me.
And here's the thing, it kind of would do what the book did, but way better, because we know that if the Dark One wins, the wheel breaks and people don't get reborn.
Yeah.
And so Talmanes being a hero for the horn and being like, yeah, we have to win, or yeah, I'm dead permanently, is still like part of the story.
1,000%.
And really like helps like Matt, I think, come to terms with the fact that he's the one who blows the horn and he's responsible. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like that sounds so, oh man, that would have been so good.
It is just, I was really disappointed. I'm not going to lie, because I thought the sacking of Caemlyn was going to be the moment where I was like, oh, shit just got real.
But instead, lots of unnamed people die.
Yeah, but like
lots of unnamed people are dying all the time in the series, but we don't know them.
Yeah. I think that,
yeah.
It really, like, I was like, okay, the second of Caemlyn's gonna be cool. Bad shit is going to happen, and our heroes are gonna, like, it is going to be the emotional devastation. And even Elayne is like, it's some buildings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Like, I don't know. I went on this adventure with this series hoping to be emotionally devastated, and I don't have a lot of emotional connection to any of this because there's no stakes. Because at every opportunity, the books walk back anything interesting to have this very tepid, very safe, like, don't worry though, the heroes are fine. If you like the character, don't worry, they're fine. Everybody's fine. Nothing bad really happened. Yeah. Some people you never heard of died. Like the poor people died. But don't worry. All of the main characters are fine, and it's constant.
Yeah.
And it makes the war with the shadow seem like a joke.
I don't always agree with you. Like, we've had debates about those kinds of things throughout the series, but in this moment, I do. I think it was a real step back to just let Talmanes be okay.
and to let them have all of the dragons, and Eludra's fine, and
they can't
Gaibon
have
is fine.
Both the if you save Talmanes, they don't get the dragons, or something like that. But yeah, it's everything is fine. So.
There are no consequences for the sacking of Camelin, other than they don't have the city. But like the city isn't important to the final battle because we don't know what the final battle is.
And
it's not like that's where they're gonna fight it.
Yeah.
So
unless it is a Camelin.
It is writing the big like heroes fall moment and then pulling the rug out underneath it at right at the end of it and letting your audience be like, oh my god, this bad thing is happening. Talmanes died. Isn't this so emotional? Nope.
Just kidding.
Fuck you. Yeah. Nobody died. Like,
Methany, thank you for that super chat. You're right. Talmanes cannot be Gaidal because Gaidal has no sense of humor. You're right. Great payoff POV, leave it at that. Yeah, for sure. It that one was like a little bit disappointing to me, especially because we left the end of the prologue being like, holy shit. Like shit, things are getting real. Talmanes died. Like that means something to our characters that we love, like for Matt.
Yeah.
And they just were like, nah, just kidding.
But you also, like, you did, sorry, Brandon, but you wrote the best death line. One of my favorite death lines ever.
Yeah!
In The ground seemed to tremble from the force of his fall.
Oh
It is
my
one
God.
of the best death lines I've ever read.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So good.
And so it's just to write something so poetic and magnificent, the kind of line that people would get tattooed on their bodies, and then have it be a rug pull is...
Cowards!
It's authorial cowardice, in my opinion. Like, it really is. It immediately made me not interested.
Yeah.
And I struggled to get through the reading this week because of it. I was reading until like 1 o'clock in the morning last night because I kept putting the book down because Talmanes surviving this just killed my interest.
Yeah.
It made me go like, I don't care. Like, I literally do not give a shit now because nobody will fucking die. Mm-hmm. And so what is the point of going into this war?
Yeah.
If the only people who die are going to be the bad guys, that's fucking boring.
Yeah.
And I just, I mean, this series is willing to talk about slavery and rape, and it's willing to get into all of this dark shit, but the war is the most sanitized thing I've ever read in the world, and this moment crushed my interest in it. It crushed my interest in the final battle. Yeah. I care about Andrel because there's consequences there. There's actually interesting shit going on there. I don't give a fuck about the last battle because I don't think anyone's in danger.
Yeah.
And I should be scared shitless. I should be sitting there with my characters, fucking on the edge of my seat, like, what is gonna happen?
Who is gonna die?
But I just know that Nynaeve's gonna walk over and be like, I can cure everything.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
I want to move on because I don't want to just complain forever. But that is how I feel right now. I like this will always be like a black spot on the memory of light for me.
Yeah. No, I think it's fair. It's unfortunate, but I do think it's fair.
Mm-hmm.
Sandwich, thank you for that super chat. If you want steaks and your heartrum, your bot. If you want, I'm sorry. I think you'd like The Faithful and the Fallen series by John Gwynne. I not 100% sure on the first part of that sentence, but thank you for the book recommendations. We've got some stuff to read, but always happy when a book provides steaks. I prefer medium rare, personally, but yeah, it's a little unfortunate for sure. This section. Chapter 1 is the wheel of time turns and the wind blows across the country, and we land in a spot.
Rand and Perrin are having a fun conversation, laughing.
I know, they're broing out.
They're broing down, having some brewskis.
I love to see that.
I did like that. Rand is like, I love wine because Luce Theron liked wine, but he doesn't like this wine. He's just miserable.
He's complaining about the vintage.
It's very funny.
Amazing.
Mega K Wags, thank you for that. Join the Narcs. I was a raffle winner to be in this book. I'm Kurt Wagoner in chapter 1. Hope my man didn't disappoint. Let's go, Kurt Wagoner.
That's amazing.
Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you. Welcome back to the Nerd Table.
Steak is meat. This is like the opposite of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it depends. You get to season 8 and everyone has hero shields. So it's...
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think that'll be in the books, but not everyone has hero shields.
They literally fight zombies, and we watch them ripping
in that
into
chapter?
people.
Absolutely, yeah.
Everyone, no, fuck that. That plot armor was way too thick. Anyways, doesn't matter. We're not talking about Game of Thrones.
But how do you know everyone survived? You couldn't see anything.
So Rand.
I could. By the way, I don't hate season 8 as much as other people do. But.
Yeah, no, fuck that.
All right. Yeah, Rand. They have like a interesting conversation. They kind of walk around. We find out off page. We find out that Rand found out that Elayne is pregnant off page, which like just let us see it. That's such a fun, huge moment. Because I got to the point where Rand was like, Elayne is pregnant. Why didn't she tell me? And so I was like, oh, when did Rand find that out? It was off page. And I was like, why is that moment? Why isn't that?
Yeah.
Why aren't we there for that moment?
Yeah, like Elayne is like, Elayne doesn't tell him at first because she's like, oh yeah, like he's a little like off. Can feel him in the back of my head. Maybe putting that on him is not a good thing. And then she feels the change in him. And I don't know how long they've been at the Fields of Marilord, but it's definitely like long enough to have a 5-minute meeting to tell the father of your children that you're pregnant.
No. Elayne cannot go to Rand because plot convenience.
Gotcha. Okay.
Ken the Ashaman!
Thank you.
Nobody dies. Emotional damage.
Yeah.
No, I mean Noel did, but like.
Yeah, but Noel was an older gentleman who had lived a very full life, and it was kind of like, yeah, of course you're going to be the one that's going to die.
And got a heroic death, not against the bad guys of the series.
Yeah.
Varen killed herself.
At least Varen was badass. I will.
Sure, but again, it is a war series, and nobody's died in the war.
Yeah. No, I hear you. And
that is what is so weird about this to me.
Mm-hmm.
There are characters who have died, but primarily not, like Ingtar died. Not against the Shadow. You know what I mean? Like, it's literally like our characters only die against the other factions or literally against themselves.
Ken the Ashaman died,
Again.
To the Shadow.
Yeah. Also, I guess those are the Shadow, kind of. They were working with the Forsaken, at least.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, it's like, yeah, Varen fucking killed herself. Like, I don't know what you want from me. And the people are like, no, but there are consequences. I'm like, what? They got Talmanes and the dragons and Gaibon and Aludra. All 4 of the important pieces survive.
Anyways.
Just fucking kill Gaibon. Who gives a shit? There's 2,000 people in this series. Kill some of them. They can't all have fucking epilogues. I'm exhausted. I'm fucking exhausted. We've been having this conversation for like 7 books. It's been like 2 million words.
Yeah.
Just kill.
I
start
think it's
killing
shocking
people
that
so you don't have to remember them.
Now. You really think it's gonna change?
Yes, it is the last battle. And Rand keeps being like, we're gonna lose a lot of people. And I'm like, Rand, why do you think that? The only people you're gonna lose are the ones whose names you don't know, because Brandon Sanderson doesn't want to write the list of women who died out.
Oh my god.
I need to stop doing this.
You need to you need to realize that because you've been talking about this for 7 books, that's how these books go.
I know. And look, is The Wheel of Time going to be my favorite series ever? No, it's not, right? Like, there's things I love about it. It's an incredible series with a lot of wonderful pieces. It also has some huge missteps that I think are, like, unfortunate and detract from its overall greatness.
Yeah.
And if it's your favorite, awesome. Like, I'm not telling you that you have to agree with me. That's just my opinion. And, like, there isn't enough for me to say that this is my favorite thing ever.
Sure.
But I also love it. You know what I mean? Like, I think that, like, some people hear me say it's not my favorite series ever, and they're like, oh, you hate it. And I'm like, no. There's things I hate about it. You know what I mean? But, like, there's so much to love.
Yeah.
I just have a very wide and varied opinion of the series.
Yeah.
That is very wide and varied and
because
has wildly different things in it.
Wide and varied. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
What he's saying is Ken is not Ken enough.
Oh, my God.
I need that fucking sweater. Okay.
Yeah.
So, they go see the clerk and they kind of just chat with him, find out who's there.
Yep.
Rand kind of reveals his, like, point of view on Lews Theron's memories.
Yeah.
And I think that they're very interesting. I love kind of the way that he communicates this to Perrin.
I keep waiting for Perrin to be like, I'm a wolf.
I think Rand already knows.
He knows he's like
because Rand in this POV, Rand has a moment where he's like, "Did he almost say smell there?" So I think Rand is already aware of that.
I don't think he's aware. I don't even think Rand knows what like a wolf brother is because it's so rare.
I think he does from Lews Theron's time though.
But even then, there were like almost none of them.
Sure, it seemed that the smell line in this indicated to me that Rand knew it was up.
Yeah, okay. It didn't indicate that to me.
Why do you think that he said why do you think that he came up with smell there then?
Well, because that's what he thought he almost said, and he's like, but he makes no connection to it. It's not like smell. Oh, is that
okay.
Like there's nothing else there, and so I was like, oh, it was just a weird misstep in words. That's strange.
Fair.
Yeah, I don't think Rand knows, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I think when the wolves show up at the last battle, maybe he might find out. Then we get Egwene's point of view, who is writing a letter to Rand.
Actually, before we move on from that,
sure.
Rand explains why they need to break the seals to Perrin in the same way that I did.
Beautiful way.
Like literally almost word for word what I had said in that book club.
And Perrin is like, wow, you should just say that.
And he doesn't. Oh, Egwene is a woman. She doesn't understand blacksmithing. I was like, Rand, what?
I don't.
Try
I
it.
do not understand why he didn't just say what he said to Perrin.
It changed Perrin's mind about it immediately.
Yeah.
And then Rand is like, no. She wouldn't understand it because she's not a blacksmith.
Yeah.
Sure.
So Egwene is writing a letter to Rand, and here's the thing, y'all. If you have frustrations with somebody and you want to put them to paper, it's pretty therapeutic. Yeah. You know, definitely recommend.
So she goes to see Elayne, and Elayne, she like teleports over through a gateway because she's like, I don't want to walk, because then it's like a whole thing. Once everybody knows, it's like, it's just fucking annoying, which, fair. Yeah, Jessamine has not been reaching out from Caemlyn. It's been 6 hours.
She's like, wow, what a silly girl.
Maybe send someone at the first 2-hour checkpoint that they missed. And this is where like they start to set up that Elayne isn't fucking running things well. And it's so strange that they set up throughout this that Elayne is not the right person for the job that she's given at the end of this reading.
She gets that job, yeah.
If someone doesn't meet your check-in, you don't go, we'll go 2 more and see.
Yeah, so
you go immediately.
Then Gaibon shows up and is like, Caemlyn is under attack and burning, and everybody died except for the people I have with me. But hey,
why didn't I know?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
I know, hasn't it been 6 hours?
Yes, which means that they missed 3 check-ins before they went to check in.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
why?
I don't. That one.
You know what I mean?
I couldn't tell you.
And
could not tell you.
The book doesn't set, like, Elayne is like, why didn't someone go check in? And there's no answer. Mm-hmm. The book just kind of leaves this dangling thread of, oh yeah, it was 6 hours. We waited 6 hours. Move on. Yeah.
As soon as it's like 2 hours and 15 minutes, I'm checking in. You know what I mean?
I was so confused.
Yeah.
And I'm still confused, and the book doesn't answer that at all.
No, it gives Elayne the full authority at the last battle. But anyways, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it was just, yeah, I just wish the book gave a reason why they didn't check back in.
Yeah.
Just anything. I just wish there was something mentioned, is all.
Yeah. 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 I don't know what that could be. But anyways, Nynaeve heals Talmanes. We've already talked about that. Yeah. That is what it is. And we move over to Rand's point of view. This is where they kind of talk about Lews Therin and the madness and like what that means for Lews Therin, and about whether or not Egwene is gonna side with Rand or not, or if she's gonna fight him tooth and nail on this. And then they find out Caemlyn falls. They're like, oh, okay, well, fuck the people of Caemlyn. Elayne can't leave because this is the most important thing. And I was like, yeah, okay. Yeah. I'll maybe, like, check in with her. You know what I mean? Like, Rand, like, you love this woman. I would maybe go to her. And instead, Rand writes a letter to Elayne telling her that she should go so that she stays.
Well, and, like, the miscommunication
thing... in the Wheel of Time.
The communication thing before had the excuse of they are countries apart. And now they can, like, see each other's tents.
I know. They can literally teleport over there. I was like, guys, why?
They've always been able to teleport. Now they can yell. That's true. They could reasonably, like, amplify their voice a little bit and yell at each other.
Hey, Elayne, let's talk. Don't go
they're still
hey,
like,
Rand, I'm pregnant.
We're going to see each other at a meeting tomorrow. Did Elayne think she was going to walk into that meeting with her fucking belly out and Rand would be like, hey everyone, can I have the tent for a second? Because what the fuck is that? Like, what was her plan? And she doesn't go into the meeting and then talk to him. So she's literally, Rand is at the most important meeting.
Oh
look,
my God.
Look. Rand is like, I'm bringing all of the countries together. We're going to have this very important meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And Elayne is like, I'm going to show up pregnant, not talk about
Surprise,
it, and hope that doesn't distract him.
I know.
Or become a thing.
I know. She's just hoping that he's found out somehow, I guess.
What is this child doing? And I get it. Elayne is a child. And, like, she behaves like a child, and she's immature, and, like, that is part of her character. I totally understand that. But then at the end of this, you expect me to be like, Elaine's in charge of the war effort. And I'm like, she is making terrible fucking decisions that don't make any goddamn sense. And then you're telling me she's in charge of shit. And I'm like, no, there are people who are good at that, who have shown throughout the series how fucking good they are at it. There are so many characters who have earned the fucking job because you've written great captains. They have the fucking title, and they've lived up to it constantly. Yep. And you're giving it to the woman who's doing some random bullshit.
Yep.
It's wild.
I honestly, at this part, I was like, the fuck is going on? Y'all are ridiculous. Just go walk over 3 tents and talk to the woman you love. Like, now I'm gonna write her a letter and tell her that what I don't want her to do so that she does the opposite. I'm like, oh my fucking God.
I just, this whole, like, the like, CW campsite bullshit. It's just, I was like, oh my God, guys, you're the king. You're the leaders of nations.
The fate of the world is at stake. Please talk to one another. Like, could you imagine if you're like, I'm gonna go die and sacrifice myself for everyone here to live, and the woman you love walks into that meeting pregnant? Like,
yeah, I can't. Yeah, it's wild. It's so wild, and it's so weird.
Yeah, it is very, very, very
These
strange.
people are so toxic.
They're so toxic. Are you kidding me? If you have to literally, like, not gaslight, but basically gaslight the person you like to doing what you want by telling them to do the opposite, that's fucked up.
I know. Rand could literally just explain to her that he needs her at that meeting. Yeah. And that he is sorry about Andor.
And also Elayne wasn't
going to
go.
fucking listen.
She also wasn't going to go.
I know. But he never... But Rand has not spoken to her in 7 months.
I know.
And so he doesn't know what she's going to do because he impregnated her and then fucked off.
I know.
This series is like... It is the... coming off Towers of Midnight, I was like, oh, we're set up for the finale. Everything's gonna, like, settle into place. It's gonna be a totally normal final book. And then the beginning of this book is the most insane shit I've ever read in my entire life.
And I thought that Elayne had more character growth than apparently she had.
I agree with that.
Right, because she got Caemlyn back. She was incredibly intelligent and strategic. Yeah. Like there were so many things about Elayne that, yes, I think that maybe... her POVs weren't the most interesting to a lot of people. I found them interesting. But also, it was kind of time that was maybe not that important because then Caemlyn fell anyways. But the character development that I saw in Elayne in those moments, I loved. And to kind of have that undone in this was just really silly.
But it felt a little bit undone in order to have the, like, plot of the meeting be more dramatic. Yeah. But there was so much stuff that already needed to be handled at the meeting.
I didn't care about,
that I was like, this stuff should have all been handled earlier. Yeah. And honestly, should never have happened because Rand and Elayne should have talked. Yeah. They have the ability. They have way too many methods of communication for this to have continued on this long. Yes. Yeah, I agree with that. Even
if they talked off page, that's fine. We don't need to see the actual conversation, but he's telling Perrin how he feels about the conversation is also very interesting.
100%.
But they don't have that conversation, and so... Yeah. They instead gaslight one another. Anyways. Yeah. Chapter 2.
They go check on how bad things are in Andor and realize, hey, we can't do anything there, so fuck it. We'll do our best. But
yeah.
It's and it is the mature decision. It is the hard decision, right? Like, we're not going to save Caemlyn because it's not worth our resources. Yeah. And I'm at least glad that Elayne agreed with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, we get back to some good shit over at the Black Tower with Pivara and Androl. Yeah.
And it is fucking good shit. We just complained a lot about chapter 1. Chapter 2, mwah. Yeah. The only thing is that I really don't like the moment where Pivara bonds Androl. Yeah. Because I think that, like, their conversations around the circle, and I don't understand, like, I'm still not sure I really understand why the, like, you can have 2 men and 1 woman, but you can't have like 3 men and 2 women.
The math of that it is the math of
it's
the
just
world,
random,
and it is what it is.
And so like they have this great conversation about circles, and then Andral tries the circle, and then Pavara is so caught up in not being able to give up control that she
forcefully bonds him,
and then he bonds her back, which I didn't know was possible.
So
I thought the bond was a bond.
It was very kind of.
I just think that like we really didn't need another consent moment in this series. Like we just didn't. This could have been the better version of what happened to Rand, where she asks, and she's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was a little bit icky in a moment that I thought was written really well up until it, and
yes,
like
so good.
All the stuff in the Black Tower is great.
Their conversation was so cool. Like them sussing each other out and like really like figuring out how they're gonna work together, so fucking good. And then that moment just kind of like killed it for me, you know.
Samantha A says she was scared. I get that, but
that's
like
not an excuse.
Yeah.
Like Andral didn't do anything.
Yeah.
She's the one who worked it up in her head and got scared and then lashed out, even though Andral was just like, you know, indulging in being able to hold more of the power. Like,
and it also just made this like, oh fuck, like Pavara. Yeah, like Pavara was such an interesting character and I really loved her.
Yeah.
And now it's like, oh great, another woman who just fucking takes advantage of a situation because she can.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was so well written up until that beat, and then that beat kind of passes really quickly, and they just kind of move on from it because the stakes of their situation are so high.
Then, and now they're like, oh, okay.
Well, and the immediacy of what they need to accomplish is so high that they have to move on.
Yeah.
And so the book doesn't even really get into why it's bad because there's no time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, why introduce such a big thing at a time when you don't have time to get into it?
Yeah, and the other part that kind of makes it weird for me as well is Pavara's like, I'll remove it. I'm like, you know, like whatever, you know, I there is a way to take this back. And Andral is like, well, there's not a way for me to take this one back, so get fucked.
But wait, you also can't remove the water bond.
Pavara says that she can.
No, she says, I revoke it, as if that's gonna just, like, magically...
No, she says, I will revoke it. And he's like, well, I can't do that for this. Like, there's no way that I know. Like...
Lightblind Fool says, wait, we have high stakes? Yeah, in the Black Tower? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
The Black Tower is the most interesting part of this because there are legitimately moment-to-moment stakes of what is going on.
Yeah.
It is actually scary. The Black Tower is the most interesting part of the book to me right now because I understand what's going on. I understand what the stakes are. The characters, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would rather read about the Black Tower than literally anything else happening in this book right now. It is the best part of it. And there's other great stuff.
I actually really am loving Avienda's POVs.
Again, I'm not saying it is the only good part. I'm just saying that the Black Tower is the best part of the book right now.
Okay, yeah, I think it's my favorite part of the beginning here, yeah.
It is where things are currently happening. Yeah. It is, you know what I mean? Like, there are elements of it that are really working. And there's other stuff that I love, right? Like, I love the Rand and Perrin conversation. I loved the Avienda point of view with the other wise ones. There's other great stuff, but the Black Tower to me is the best part of this book right now.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
And the Talmanes stuff up until he's brought back. Yeah. That stuff was great. Sean says, the Black Tower that Robert Jordan spent half the series avoiding because it was too interesting. Agreed. Yeah. It's almost like we could have been here the whole time.
I honestly would have loved more of this. Like, I think they could have taken out a lot of Crossroads of Twilight and put this in.
Apparently the bond can be revoked.
That's what she says. So I'm kind of taking Pavara at her word, but yeah.
Cool. I like, it's never happened before. Yeah. It does feel like we're introducing a lot of shit at the end of the series. You know what I mean? It does kind of feel like, we can double bond now. The bonds can be revoked. You know what I mean? It feels like there's a number of things that are being set up in the final book that I think that, like, could have been set up earlier. Yeah.
Anyways,
wait, Samantha is right. Why is if you can revoke the bond, why is Elias still bonded?
Is he?
He is. He said that.
Well, he ran away, so there was no chance to, like, revoke it.
Oh, do you need to, like, physically touch them to do it?
Probably. Like, there needs to be probably some proximity.
I think the fact that we don't know the answer to that question isn't great.
Yeah.
If you're going to bring it up...
Like, Perrin could have asked Elias, you know, like, oh, well, why is the bond still there or something? Yeah.
Yeah, I think the fact that we don't know the answer to that question is a little weird at this point.
Yeah.
We're too many words in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Fair.
But the other than that, I think the moment around, other than the bonding issue, which I think was just very unnecessary and weird, the moment of Andrel, I really, really, really loved the lead up to it, which is Andrel getting this bond and feeling so much joy and wonder at the amount of power that he suddenly has. And the line, like, is this what everyone else feels like, is really beautiful. And I think they, like, that side of this conversation, Brandon Sanderson did such a good job of writing.
Absolutely.
It was really interesting. And
Yeah, Wheel of Time. Welcome back to the nerd table. We're gonna have an all green chat. Let's go. I don't think these are new things being introduced for plot as much as Brandon just playing with the magic, because that's what he likes doing. Yeah, clunky way, I think, to get in there, but it definitely feels like he was like, what if they were both bonded to one another?
Sure.
So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. I just think that the way that we got there was like, characters already made this mistake like earlier in the series. It would have been more interesting if we had explored that in a different way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And like I think that sometimes Brandon Sanderson does a really good job of building off of earlier things that were mentioned and expanding upon them.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily think everything so far in this book has been that. It's been sort of like new ideas. And I just hope that I hope that the rest of this book feels a little bit more focused than I think the beginning of this does.
Yeah, for sure.
Jason Renner, thank you for that super
you.
chat. They discussed releasing the bond back in the Great Hunt, with them wondering if Lan should ask Moraine to be released. I love Flirty Avienda coming.
Oh my god, Avienda is great. But
did they talk about releasing Lan?
My recollection of it was that the releasing was the passing along of it, but that just might be because we're so far away from book 2 now, that I don't have clear memories of that. Actually, I did just do a re-listen, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember that. You're probably right. It's probably there, and it's just so long ago now that we're not remembering it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is just interesting that it's never happened. Mm-hmm. You would think it would have happened once. It doesn't matter. Yeah. And then
Wellen gets
Wellen comes back and reveals that Tame has Logain.
Yep.
Which he got from
Logain?
Yeah, where was he?
No idea.
You know what I mean?
They tried to escape and they got caught. It didn't go well.
No, but where's Logain been for like 3 books?
He left. Remember, he literally snuck out because he was like, "Fuck this place."
Yeah, and then he went to Rand, and then Rand set him on missions, and then did Rand just not notice Logain disappear?
Why? He doesn't check in on Logain regularly, so yeah, why would he know?
Logain was checking in with Rand regularly.
What?
Literally, like Logain was like running around doing errands for Rand.
Like what?
Setting up the meeting with the Sanshin. Moving Ashaman out of the Black Tower, who were loyal to Rand. That's what Logain was doing. And does Rand just like not know that Logain disappeared?
He forgot about Logain. Too many people.
It kind of feels like it.
Poor Logain. That's so sad.
Like Logain disappeared for like 3 books. I think the last time we saw him was Knife of Dreams.
Maybe.
Because it was before Semirog attacked Rand.
Yeah, yes, for sure. Rand forgot about the Iron Fleet. Exactly.
It might have been Crossroads of Twilight was the last time we saw Logain. So like, what has he been doing?
I don't know.
He's like the third most powerful male channeler in Randland, and he just kind of disappeared, and Rand never brought him up again. Never checked in on him. These people can teleport. Like, they can communicate in dreams. And, like, it is so crazy to me that Logain, you can lose track of somebody.
Logain was hanging out with Asmodean. Yeah.
But, like, they literally, like, we captured Logain, and I was like, yeah, I guess.
If you say so.
What was he, like, where was he, and what was he doing?
Not important. It wasn't doing anything.
Philip says Rand seems to spend half of his time actively trying to forget that the Ashaman exist. I agree.
Yep, definitely. He's like, someone else is dealing with that. Yeah. So Avienda goes and sneaks into Elayne's tent like a fucking asshole.
No, it's great. I fucking loved it.
No, I loved it. I loved it. And Elayne is like, you know why, you freaked everybody out. And she's like, no, why?
Because you planted a knife in the ground.
What's the problem? No, she planted that as a distraction outside.
I know, and that's why and that's why the people outside are freaking out. Because like, oh, someone planted a knife in the ground near the queen's tent. That's worthy of some fucking alarm, Avienda.
No, I love Avienda.
Why would anyone see
much.
that as a threat? I only put a knife in the ground.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh my god.
Avienda is the best. I fucking love her. Never change Avienda.
I do love, though, that she enters a tent, sits down, and nobody notices.
No one notices, like, the tent move a little bit. No. Avienda is fucking sneaky as fuck. She's got passes out trace on at all times. Plus 10 to sneak, always.
And then they come together. And, like, I love it. We hear Elayne kind of talking through what's going on in Andor, and it's great.
Yep.
Like, Elayne, as much as I am giving Elayne shit here, she is a great queen.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She is running Andor and now Cairhienin really well. I don't want to conflate the fact that I do not think she should be the military commander.
She's not, yeah.
With the fact that I think she's doing a great job at, like, this.
Yes, at leading people and a country. And yes,
I just think they're separate jobs, right?
Yes.
And I also think Elayne is a toxic girlfriend that I would never in a million years date. I love redheads. Not a fucking chance.
That's why you have Avienda.
She's crushing it as queen, though. Mm-hmm. And I do want to give her credit for that, right? Yeah. So, they get to come together, and Avienda's like, I need to go fuck Rand right now.
Yeah.
Can you help me do that?
Yeah,
I need to talk to Min first.
Are we good with that? You know, it's my turn. I call dibs.
But you're pregnant. Min has fucked him every day. I need to fuck Rand right now.
Yeah.
And Elayne is like, yes, of course. Totally understand.
Yeah, go for it.
It's going to be super weird when I'm going to visit my burning city, and I feel you having orgasms in the back of my head. But yeah, now is a great time for you to...
It's fine. The only one who can't put it away is Min. Min is the one who has to endure it. Elayne can, like, package up the bond back there and not worry about it.
I felt like an awful person reading this, because I was like, yes, Avienda deserves sex. Like, this is a great moment for Avienda and Rand. It's also a great moment for Elayne. But the entire time, I couldn't stop thinking about Elayne going home to see the city she grew up in burning to the ground as Trollocs shoot crossbows from the walls. And in the back of her head, all she feels is her man fucking Avienda and coming inside of her. Because we know this is where she gets pregnant.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I was just reading this and I was like, Elayne is literally going to be experiencing Rand's orgasms while she watches her city burn. Uh-huh. And that is fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was intentional.
Rough,
I feel like from a writing perspective, it is two separate things.
Absolutely.
But they're happening concurrently.
Yes, they are.
And like...
yeah.
It's why I'm like, the beginning of this book is very weird to me. Because there's a lot of great stuff. And like, I think that the way Elayne is handling Caemlyn is great. I think Avienda and Rand having this moment is great. But there's just something about them putting those two things at the same time that feels so weird to me. Mm-hmm. And I just, like, I don't love the idea of Elayne, like, unconsciously getting wet as she is, like, horrified at the sight of her city burning down.
Yeah, but...
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
but we've established that Elayne can kind of, like, pack away her bond. It's Min that can't, like, disconnect from it.
I know they can, like, mute it a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. I don't think she can, like, fully block it off.
I don't think she can, like, fully block it off either, but, like, I don't think she's gonna get horny watching Caemlyn burn, you know?
I don't know that she has a choice, and that's what's weird about it. You know what I mean?
Especially because she's also first sisters with Avienda, so she gets, like, double whammy.
Oh, she gets it from both... No, she gets it from both sides.
Hot.
You know what I mean? And, like, that was where I was, like, reading this, and I was like, oh... Once it clicked for me that this was happening at the same time... I started to feel so weird.
Fair. Yeah, no, that's fair. Also, if Avienda, like, didn't want her vision to come through, she could have just not fucked Rand.
True. Yeah.
But she was like, nah, the dragon dick, worth it. Absolutely worth it.
Yeah. But yeah, so that happens. Mm-hmm. And Avienda, you know, kind of is like, I'm going to bend the rules around Min because I have to. But, you know, if we could...
If we could?
if we could, I would work with Min to like get closer and.
Oh yeah, there's not enough time, but eventually we'll all be first sisters and we'll all fuck you together. It'll be great.
Rustan says distance mutes the effects a lot, doesn't it? Here's my thing. It's not even necessarily about the feeling the orgasm. I mostly push that because of the joke of it.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's more that if I was Rand and I loved Elayne, and I knew that she was feeling this huge emotional trauma,
Mm-hmm.
I would be there with her and not having sex with another woman. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I could not
Robert
allow
Jordan
her
has some
to
weird
go alone. I know that she has
polyamory
to
views.
for the meeting.
Yeah.
I get that she has to for the meeting. But there's like, their relationship to me is awful because they are never there for each other when they need to be. Like, no matter how dire the situations, these characters never show up for one another. And it is so apparent in the fact that Elayne is experiencing her childhood home burning to the ground and Rand and Aviendha are fucking.
It also kind of parallels like when Rand is literally losing his mind and Aviendha's like, I'm not a wise one yet, so I can't like speak to him.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, he has Min in these moments, but like Aviendha isn't there for Rand before Veins of Gold.
Yeah.
Right? Like Robert Jordan has some interesting views on polyamory for sure.
Yeah, I can't imagine being Rand and like feeling Elayne's trauma and sadness and getting hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I pushed the orgasm stuff because it was funnier for the show. But like if I'm really thinking about it and why it bugs me and why like a lot of this first section didn't work for me, it is that Rand isn't there for Elayne.
Yeah.
And that he uses it to manipulate her and like
she's like, wow, I'm so proud of him from trying to manipulate. I was like,
this relationship is awful.
Yeah.
And like Tuon and Matt's relationship is awful.
Yeah.
There's so much, like, there are so many terrible fucking relationships in this series.
Yeah.
Perrin and Fael started bad. I feel like they've gotten to a good spot.
Yeah, for sure.
But like all of the relationships in the show are in these books are so fucking toxic.
Mm-hmm.
And this was just such a like gross. It like gave me like, I put the book down. Like I literally stopped reading last night and was like, oh, it's going to be a slog to get to tomorrow because of this. The Talmanes thing bugged me because I was like, fuck off. Like really, you're going to rug pull me with like a really amazing death scene that isn't. But this was the thing. And then a thing that Rand says later, this is where I was starting to be like, oh, I don't know that I agree with these characters and the way that they treat the people they say they love. And that was hard. That was a hard thing to like keep reading through.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that their treatment of one another is not great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I hear you. It was like, you know, like you said, for the joke, it's funny to think about. And then you actually think about it and you're like, I don't know if I like that.
Yeah, like, I really wanted to love the beginning of Memory of Light. I was so excited to start reading again. And I'm not gonna lie, I found the beginning of this book hard to get through. And partially because I think it's trying to set up a lot because there's a lot that is still very unclear about where we're going.
Yeah.
But also because of stuff like this where I was like, fuck, you couldn't have like you couldn't have just written them to have sex and then find out the Camelot. There was 6 hours, right? You couldn't have just had them have sex and then find out the Camelot was burning. Yeah. Like you couldn't have shuffled it around so that it wasn't
a conversation with Elayne at any point.
Oh, Elaine's leaving to go check on her hometown, which is burning before her eyes. This is a perfect time for me to fuck all night. It's just like a really weird, it just didn't work for me. I'm sorry. And if it works for you, like, great. I'm not trying to like push my opinions on other people. It just was kind of like, this just didn't work for me. The timing of it was just very weird and uncomfortable. Yeah. And I don't know. I really wanted to like it because I'm like, oh, the big meeting, it's coming, yay. But the whole time I was like, hey, Rand, maybe not right this fucking second, dude. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just how I kind of felt about it. And it was tough.
Yeah. No,
Yeah. Am I being fair? I don't know if I'm being fair to the book, but like, am I like wrong? Is it not weird?
I think it is weird, especially considering that like Elayne and Rand have still fucking not had any kind of conversation. If it was me personally, look, if I was in a relationship with several people and I knew one of them was having a terrible fucking evening, like, I would care about that person's emotional well-being more than, like, getting laid. And you know, even if they decided amongst themselves that, oh, well, one person's gonna go sleep with you anyways, it's like, okay, well, funnily enough, polyamory should be treating all parties equally.
Yeah.
And, Rand should get a say. And they make a joke about it later, which I was like, ha ha ha, yeah, that's kind of funny. But yeah, he's like, I'm never going to have a say in this. And, like, that's not fair. And so their whole relationship feels kind of like a like teenage boy's like sexual fantasy who maybe like their kinks are that they just want to be taken care of. Like they have like a mommy issue and like they have fantasies about multiple people because it's like that thing of like, oh, I don't get to pick who I'm fucking tonight. Oh, woe is me, but I'm getting fucking laid. You know what I mean? It's
while my other lover is pregnant and watching her city burn to the ground.
Yeah. It's a little bit icky. I love a lot about all of these characters. Yeah. But this moment especially made the foursome relationship feel uncomfy because people were not respecting everybody as equals in these moments.
Yeah.
So yeah, it does feel like a little bit of a weird kink fantasy that was written into this book and not always written super well.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a bit of Sanderson who doesn't have experience with polyamory.
Yeah, because honestly, I feel like, I can't believe I'm saying this, I think Robert Jordan wrote the polyamory better.
Yeah, he's not good at writing, like, relationships, but the polyamory stuff, like, I think...
I don't know.
It felt a little more true to character. And now, yeah.
Sean says, it sometimes feels like two women who have tamed a sperm donor and Min, Rand's actual girlfriend. Yeah, because Min and Rand have a fucking relationship and talk to each other.
They interact
Everyone
with one
else, Avienda basically has sex with Rand. Mm-hmm. Or berates him about Aiel shit. Mm-hmm. They do not have a relationship. They don't care about each other. They are not in love. Mm-hmm. Elayne has not spoken to Rand since they fucked. They are not in a relationship. They are not in love. They are toxic to one another. They're so fucking toxic to one another. They are a terrible couple. They should not be together. Min and Rand, fucking great. No matter how bad shit is for Rand, Min is fucking there for him. Does Rand need help? Min fucking consoles him, carries him when he's sick. Like, they have a legitimate companionship that is beautiful.
Yeah.
And then Avienda and Elayne are just fucking, like, they have their own relationship, and Rand is the dick that they fuck on the weekend.
Yeah.
They send Rand a you up text, and that is and then at all other times, they're just mad at him and think that he's an idiot and think that he's incompetent and don't think that he's doing a good job. Like, it is toxic, weird bullshit, and I just, like,
There's parts of it
it's so strange
that I really, really don't love.
Sorry, we need to move on because I'm just harping on this. But
no, that's fair.
This was a big piece of why I am not enjoying A Memory of Light so far. And I think that I want to be honest about that because I don't want to just brush under the rug the things about the series that I don't like.
Yeah. Just
because, like, the last two books I've really enjoyed. Yeah. Right? Like, I really liked Gathering Storm. I liked Towers of Midnight almost as much.
Yeah.
But, like, so far, I'm kind of like, what am I reading?
Yeah.
Well, it feels like the ball's being dropped right now, and I'm worried because I want to love the end of the series. But, like, I didn't really like week one. I didn't like week one of the reading.
There's some really good shit in there, and then there's also some like kind of questionable shit in there, and that we're here to talk about both of those things, right? Glenn, thank you for the super chat. Min is best girl.
Min is best girl.
Min is the best.
Because she talks to the man she loves. Yeah. That is such a low fucking bar.
Uh-huh.
All right, we cut over to chapter 3. Oh my god, it's been 2 hours and we're only on chapter 3.
Yeah, hurry the fuck up.
You hurry the fuck up.
I am.
Okay. Go. Come on, chapter 3. Come on.
I have been.
Come on.
I'm the one who's
a dangerous place.
Okay,
a dangerous place. Come on, go. Go.
No. You're gonna take a second. And you're gonna be like, oh yes, you are the person who is trying to push this narrative forward. Yes. Am I gonna get that acknowledgement from you?
Yeah, you're doing great.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm having fun. I don't know if anyone else is enjoying book club today. I'm having a great time.
No, I'm having a great time, but I have been the person that's like, and then in this chapter. So I'll be that person again because we get to chapter 3 and we're back at the Black Tower, baby. Wellen is like, yeah, Logain and the Mahale, yeah, they sorted out the differences. Don't worry about it. Logain's gonna be here tomorrow. They're gonna tell you all about it and everything's gonna be fine and dandy. And I was like, oh god, they're so fucked.
Yeah.
They also they demote Androl. That was very sad. Because he's like, this actually means something to this character, and we already know that it means something to this character, and it was like gut-wrenching to have him like in this moment where he like can't do anything except kind of survive and help the people that he cares about survive. That made me like that got me in like the feels. I felt so bad.
Yeah, it's also like one of those weird moments where I was like, why are you doing this? Like if I was Tame and I was running the Black Tower and I was trying to get people to like be alone so that they could be kidnapped and turned and all of this stuff, I wouldn't demote people. I would make it seem like everything's fine. Like this just seems like really bad.
Well, I don't think that came from the Mahal, right? That was some fucking cocky
literally
motherfucker.
did. Like the Mahal is the one who demotes him. But
They
I just think that like
I don't know if that's true.
But I would tell people to make things seem fine.
Or it's a tactic to be more divisive. Like, you better suck up to the Mahal because I can fucking demote you.
But what is the purpose of being divisive? If your plan is just to turn them all evil anyway, why?
Because they're stronger. That he literally says they're more useful to him if he doesn't have to turn them. If they come to him of their own accord.
Right. So then why not? But like.
So he's scaring people.
The stick isn't working though. Right? Like, the carrot might work, but they don't really even try it.
You don't know that. No, he's fucking demoting people and being like, if you cross me, then you get fucking downgraded. People are going to suck up to him.
Yeah, and I guess there's the element of, like, the more on the light you are, the further you go to the dark when you're turned.
Yeah.
It is weird that it doesn't seem to be the 1313 thing, so I don't know what's going on with the turning.
What do you mean?
Well, they said that like it takes longer with Logain, but I thought it was just a quick ceremony with the 26.
All we know is that like you're required to have 13 and 13. I don't know if there have been any other specifics mentioned previously. This is kind of like an introduction to, yes, these are the requirements for it, but for certain people and their strength of will, it takes longer.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit confused as to what's going on. With that, not in a bad way. I actually think it's really interesting, and I think that what we get to with Logain is great. Again, the Black Tar stuff, other than the like super one consent thing that I didn't think was necessary this late in the series, it's really great. It's just really there was a weird kind of element of this where I'm like, the fact that they said that it takes a long time and that Tame is the one doing it, I was like, are not 13 Aes Sedai and 13 Madral? I just, and when they get there, there's no one with Tame. Like there's like one person guarding his cell. And so I was just kind of like, I thought they were going to get there and there were going to be 26 people in the room. You know what I mean? Trying to turn him. Like, I thought they were going to be doing something to him.
Yeah.
And it seemed like they were just trying to break him the same way that, like, solitary confinement breaks someone mentally.
Well, yeah, because they said, like, his strength of will his resolve is too hard so that they need to wear him down.
Maybe they have to,
Maybe it's easier when they're
This is the weird thing about
weaker?
Setting up that the 1313 thing just works earlier, right?
And nobody knew about it. It's like a theory, right?
No, but it's a thing that happened in the Age of Shadows. So, like, the Forsaken know about it. Because it was a thing that they used to do. They set it up as being, like, if you get this in the room, boom, control. But it doesn't seem like it is that. And so I think that it is me having an expectation of what it is and it not being that thing. Okay. And like, so that my expectation of it is a lie that the series was telling because the people in the modern day don't actually know how it works.
Yeah, unreliable narrator
and
type
so,
thing.
Yeah, I think that it's just my expectations rubbing up against what we're being shown here.
Right.
But I expected them to go down and there would be like a ceremony taking place or like a spell or something.
Yeah.
And he was just kind of like in a hole and I was like, oh, okay, I guess... Okay.
Yeah.
I just didn't. I didn't really understand what was going on.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Joe G, thank you for the super chat. As a fellow ADHD, there's always a little surrealism and satisfaction to being the one getting other people back on track. I do my best. It does. Feel
my wife is the best, guys. She's very good at this. I am not. We would be a bigger channel if it was just you.
Absolutely not. I would be so boring by myself because I get too distracted.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
I need structure.
Rustung,
welcome back to the nerd table.
If he's Forsaken now, he needs to compensate for his competence up until now.
You're right. No, you're right. You make good points.
No, stay competent. Mahal, you're my only hope.
Babu, thank you for the super chat. Dokar Yuldik. If you don't know what that...
Kodar Yuldik.
Oh, is Is that not what I said?
No, you said Dokar.
Oopsie, my bad.
I'm the dyslexic one. Will you please not take my role on this podcast
You're right,
away from
I'm
me?
sorry. If you don't know what that means, I'm going to share a video in the Discord at some point, and you will understand. That video is somewhere. I need to find it and share that.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this is really cool. We get this moment where they decide that they have to they have to fight. They have to rescue Logain tonight, and it's going to be their only chance.
Yeah.
And I was like, great, this plot line is just going. We're shooting out of a cannon here. Let's fucking go. Love it. So on board, really invested. Can't wait for it.
Yeah.
And then we cut to Rand. And Rand is like thinking about stuff. He's just kind of chilling.
Yeah.
And Avienda's like, hey, let's fuck.
No. My favorite thing is I took a fucking picture of it. He's like, well, at least I don't have to worry about you freezing to death this time. And she's like, yes, but it may happen that I die of boredom, Rand al'Thor, if you do not stop rambling. That's a way to get a man to fuck you, I guess. Hey, I'm bored. Shut the fuck up. I love Avienda.
I don't want to feel Elayne's sadness. Distract me with your penis.
Yeah, pretty much. It's the best distraction.
And then it cuts to Pavara, because that is a fade to black.
Yeah. We don't get the dirty details.
Pavara and Andral set up this plot where they're going to tell Dobser, that there's wine in an unlocked room, and Dobser is an alcoholic. And so Dobser shows up for alcohol, and then Pavara is like, pow, 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 pow. And then they're like, okay, we got Dobser. And then Waylon and the other guy are there, and she's like, fuck. And Pavara does what I've been waiting for a Red to do this whole book series, which is show that they're really good at taking out male channelers. Because we've never really seen it, right? Like,
in the books, no.
We've gotten, like, sneaky stuff where, like, the Reds, Galena, like, tricked Rand. Yeah. But we've never seen, like, a Red go up against a male channeler. In this case, 3 male channelers. And honestly, like, yeah, she needed Andral with the cudgel to help her finish it off. Mm-hmm. But she's crushing it. Oh, and she lives up to what the Reds are. Yeah. This moment, mwah, I fucking loved it. Yeah, the whole fight was really cool.
Well, even Andral was like, holy shit, you took out 2 of them. And she's like, yeah, that's what the fuck I'm trained to do.
What do you think we do in the... We're not fucking our warders like the Greens.
Yeah.
We're not reading books like the Browns. We're practicing taking down men.
Fighting.
We're practicing tying down men. I mean... This scene was fucking rad.
Yeah, loved it. Absolutely loved it. Glenn Peterson, thank you for that super chat. Gateways don't work at the tower, so Tame is doing what all dictators seem to do when they have absolute control, turning the screws.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think my question is that, like, what is it about the turning that is making them go so slowly? Because they have so much power in this situation. It seems like they should just grab everybody at the same time.
Well, I don't know if they have abundance of 13 and 13, so keeping multiple people, like, locked up and breaking them.
Yeah, I guess keeping them shielded takes energy that maybe they don't want to waste.
Yeah,
that's fair.
They kind of have to do it 1 by 1 or 2 by 2.
Cool.
But
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
It just, the way that they talk about the Black Tower is that there's 1,000 channelers there, and we only see the perspective of, like, 10 people. And so the Andral scenes, while very well written and I think, like, very cool and motivated and I'm enjoying them, also make the Black Tower seem very small. Mm-hmm. And I kind of wish the scale of the Black Tower was shown a little bit better in these POVs. Just a little bit.
Yeah.
I still think they're great. The only thing I'm kind of missing from these is that consent issue just not being there because it's not necessary.
Yeah.
And also, just the Black Tower, the scale of the Black Tower being a little bit more prevalent in the storytelling of this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, really selling that most of the Black Tower is on the fence would be fun.
Yeah,
and that Andral only has the, like, 10 or 12, like, really, like, on the light side guys. And that the dark side is only, like, 40 people, but there's a lot of channelers that are on the fence.
No, there's most of the people have been swayed to...
Right, but that's where, like, the numbers game... I feel like the numbers game of the Black Tower is a little bit wishy-washy here in order to, like...
I agree that the scale is not represented very well, but it's definitely not, like, 40 people. It's, like, hundreds.
No, it's 1,000. It's like over 1,000.
No, I mean hundreds of people are on Tame's side.
Right, but that's why I'm like, well, then just grab all the people who are too good and just fucking like do it quickly.
But they need 13 Aes Sedai and 13 Madral, and so obviously that seems to be in short supply.
No, I just mean like to like so that they can't be working against you. And if you have to weaken them, throw them all in cells and weaken them so that the 13 come through and just go bop, 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 bop,
no,
bop, bop.
but we talked about this already. Mihail says that they are much more useful to him if they come to him of their own volition, and that the turning thing isn't like
right. But what I'm saying is that
option.
those Two Rivers boys are not going to come to you of their own volition. Like looking at them, they do not seem to be. They're not turning towards you. They're all turning towards Andral, right? And so if you have hundreds, if you have hundreds of people on your side, why are you letting these 20 guys like work on their machinations to escape?
You lock them up and then there's a prison break and people find out, and the people who are maybe on the fence who you want to sway to your side find out about like that.
But that's why I'm saying set up for me how many people are on the fence. Yeah. That's what I'm missing. I think that if I understood a little bit better how many people in the Black Tower were not immediately on Tame's side, then I would understand it more.
Yeah.
But because it kind of seems like the only parties involved are Andral's team and Tame's team,
right?
And Tame's team is so large, that's what I don't understand.
Right.
And that's why I wish the scale of the Black Tower had a little bit more to it than that.
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that I would buy in a little bit more if the scale was just represented a little bit better. That's all I'm saying.
For sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, yeah. I agree that it is hard to kind of conceptualize who is for who and what that means for the Black Tower as a whole. Yeah.
Because I do like the tale of Andral against Tame. Yeah. Like, I think that is really working for me a lot. And I think Andral is an incredible character.
Yeah.
I wish we'd gotten more of him, honestly. Because I think that he's written really well. I love the exchange between him and Pavara, where he kind of opens up just a little, not fully, but just a little, because she knows something about leatherworking, and how like bonding over a shared interest is what brings them a little bit closer together
and gets them to open up a bit. Like she like talks about her family for the very first time. I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that like there's so much in the Black Tower that's working. Yeah. So much. I just wish there was some more talk of scale. Yeah. That's all. Yeah. It's a minor thing, but that is so they fight, they take out the 3, and now they have them tied up with magic.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Chapter 4, the advantages to a bond. Yeah, you said you wanted to keep it going, so do you wanna?
Oh, you did the pivot, so I
didn't. We're still with Andral. They're in this wine cellar or whatever. And they're waiting for people to come, so they start telling like family stories. Yeah. Is Andral gonna be somebody? Is there like, because Andral's like this weird, like he's been with the sea folk, he's been cliff diving, he's from the Two Rivers.
Jane Farstrider.
Noel comes back.
Yeah, Noel is actually Andral.
It does feel a little bit like they're doing Noel again with him. The whole bit about Noel, I didn't
get that.
Just in the he's this older gentleman who's done a bunch of stuff with his life, who clearly is important, and like
Andral
it just kind of
is
feels like we
actually
did this with Noel.
Asmodean.
It is just weird to me because Andral is like from the Two Rivers.
Andral, no.
Yeah,
no, he's not.
Yeah, because he apprenticed in the Mountains of the Mist.
What? No, he's not from the Two Rivers.
That's where he grew up, the Mountains of the Mist.
But that's not the Two Rivers.
I mean, maybe not, but like it is super weird. Like when he name dropped the Mountains of the Mist, I was like, wait a second, who the fuck is Andral?
He was like there for a bit. Like this guy traveled around everywhere. He helped with the revolution. He trained in the mountains. Like he's just kind of like a traveler.
I just am like, it feels like there's a twist coming with him, and I wonder what it has been.
It's Asmodean.
Yeah, he's a great character. I really love him. And these stories are really interesting. And this one in particular, where Andral kind of reveals that his father killed himself because he could channel, is just, it's devastating, but also like, I feel like it's something that a Red can relate to and understand so well. Yes. It is a particular story that Pavara can it's an in for Pavara that is like such a dark and sad version of a like, oh, we're on the same page. and that makes it really really interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
Apparently Angela is from Terrebonne, which makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So that is like just south of the two rivers, so that kind of makes sense.
Is it? I don't.
Isn't it? Isn't that like?
I can never remember where anything is.
Oh no, it's on the other side of the mountains, missed from the two rivers.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go.
That's fair. That's fair.
Cool. Yeah, Geoscope 33 says, I believe Andrel is a Brando Sand original character. It was him wanting to leave his stamp on the series.
That's okay.
Interesting. Okay.
Thank you for that super chat.
I mean, he did. Like, I think Andrel really is... Andrel's great.
Yeah, he's a really interesting
my favorite character right now.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. His perspective is one that I, like, really appreciate having in the series. For sure. Yeah.
I think the other reason... Yeah.
I love the interrogation that Moraine like puts on his like noble aura. Sorry. And like is like, oh man, I'm so sorry that you got my bad. Here's some money. So I was actually playing both sides. Like all that stuff. I was like, chef's kiss. So good.
Kevin L. Stevenson, thank you for joining the Nards.
Welcome to the Nerd Table.
First book club I've been able to catch live in a very long time. I have missing you guys. We've missed you too. Not really. We've missed having you here. We've known that in your heart you've always been here.
Yes.
It's never. It's always felt like you were here with us.
Yeah, people don't come and go in book club. They, they're always here in our heart.
No, the interrogation and the fraud of it, I thought was so well handled. It was really interesting. Moraine like having to like settle into the person he was growing up. I just thought was a brilliant way to handle this scene.
For sure.
And it was one of the most. Like, guys, when I say that I really like the Black Tower stuff in this book so far, this is one of the reasons, right? This sequence with Dobser and with the passing of the money and the way that he gets the information out of him, I just thought it was Brando Sando really, like, leaning into creative storytelling around narrative.
Yeah.
It felt like a D&D moment so much of the, like, like the party wakes up the guy. It's just something that you play in every D&D game at some point.
Right.
But he rolled really well, and... No, I fucking loved it. I was so on board for the trickery.
Yeah. Colonel Sanders, thank you for that super chat. Little behind. When Force Turning was introduced, Nerdy hated the idea. Has your opinion changed based on how they implemented it in the story?
No, I still don't really like it.
I think even Pavar brings it up. It's like, what's the fucking point if they can, like, forcefully, like, change your will?
Yeah.
And so I think that there has to, I think for it to work for me narratively, there has to introduce a way for it to be broken or fought in a way like the mind control thing. If it's just absolute and complete forever, that just it kind of just sucks.
It's also just that like I know Nynaeve is going to heal it, and I think that Nynaeve being so good at healing stuff has actually become boring.
Oh, because she can heal anything?
Yeah, I think it's gone, like, it's the thing of, like, too much cool kind of becomes lame, and Nynaeve's ability to heal has kind of gone over...
If she hadn't healed Talmanes, I don't think it would have been.
Yeah.
She heals, she heals the stilling or whatever, and she heals the madness, and, like, those are, like, two, like,
and
huge...
compulsion. And
true,
you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of gotten to the point where, like, oh, we put ourselves into a problem, Nynaeve can undo it.
Yeah.
And so Nynaeve has become a little bit of a crutch. Also, I feel like ever since Lan left, Nynaeve hasn't been as much of a character. She's been a device for things to happen.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of missing Nynaeve having more of the, like, interpersonal, communication with people.
Yeah.
Whereas Nynaeve has sort of taken a backseat to Cad Swain in a way in that narrative, and has just kind of become a tool to heal people from things that shouldn't be able to be healed.
Well, and
that has come a little bit just like easy for me.
I think that there's going to be like I think that the turning thing is actually not going to be like difficult in terms of like weaves to heal. I think that probably any yellow is going to be able to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a feeling that you are going to have to bring together the person who is turned with their, like, Aiel vampire self and have them together to be able to fix it. Like, I think that there's going to be, a fix.
You think the Aiel vampire people come from...
Yeah, they're, like, the turned, like, souls of the people who've been turned, right? They're like the byproduct
I
of
never
this
got that.
chemical experiment. Wait, really?
Yeah, I didn't get that. I'm not disagreeing with you. I didn't get that vibe.
I thought they were linked, and because there were 13 Madral and 13 people riding through a carriage, and Isam saw them, and I thought that connection was established. I thought the turned people.
I didn't get that, but you could be right. You pick up on stuff that I miss all the time.
I thought they were like the fractured soul of the person who's turned, because if you take someone's like if you take someone's will away from themselves, there has to be like a consequence for that. And so I feel like it's like a chemical reaction where you get a byproduct of something else that happens, like it is literally the extra of that process. There's something left over from it.
Yeah, if that is what it is, that is so much cooler to me than them just being Aiel who have been turned evil. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think
I would
Aiel
actually
turned evil.
really like that. I would.
Yeah.
Because them just being reverse Aiel is kind of silly.
No, I don't.
We take our veils down when we're fighting.
No, I don't think they're Aiel, and I don't even think the veils come from the Aiel. I literally think it's like an intimidation thing. That, like, I don't think they're related to Aiel. I just think that our first encounter with them was someone who saw them and saw the veils and immediately thought Aiel, but I don't think that they're actually connected in any way.
Okay. Is it bad that every time I think of those red veils, I can't help but think of Mortal Engines?
Never seen
the Moving City movie, because of the poster was just her with her red veil.
Oh, yeah, I know. I don't know it. Sorry.
All right,
yeah,
so
I'm gonna have to go back and read the prologue part again, because like I said, the Assam stuff was really, really, really confusing, and so I'm not sure why I made that connection, but yeah, that's my theory, is that like
I think it's interesting.
Healing the turning isn't actually going to be that difficult. The difficult part is going to be reuniting the like vampire thingy with the like it's I don't know. That sounds crazy. This
is so insane.
That sounds crazy. Never mind. I don't know.
That feels like the plot of its own book. If they actually try and reunite people with their vampire half red Aiel selves, that sounds so crazy.
But because their soul or their force of will has been yanked from their body, it's like corrupted, right?
Yeah,
And so you have to bring them together to heal it.
Okay. I'm down for it. That sounds like a huge idea to play with.
It does sound a little bonkers. You're right.
But fun. They figure out that the foundation at the back of the place is where Logain is being held, and we move over to Rand. Rand is... Aviendha finally gives him a break. She's just been riding him all night long, but it's literally what is in the book.
No,
that's what the book says.
You're right.
Tomorrow is the most important day in the world, and Aviendha finally gave him enough time to go to sleep, where he wakes up in a dream shard, which is another thing in Teleran Riyadh that's off Teleran Riyadh, but... There are like 90 levels to the dreams. This shit is like, must be where Christopher Nolan got the idea for Inception. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a dream that's hanging off and attached to the dream world, but its own separate thing.
Which implies that Teleran Riyadh has like borders?
Yes, it does, because we've seen Egwene floating through deep space.
No, but that's not Teleran Riyadh. That's like a separate...
That's what I mean. That
dream
has
space
to be borders because there's more than one place that exists.
The scat skis from Dark Crystal. Yes, exactly. We never even talked about the coolest part of the fucking Dark Friend social at the beginning of the book, which is all the people in the water underneath that are being like pulled into something. Like, that was fucking cool.
Oh, horrifying.
Yeah, we were so distracted by the high school petty bullshit that we missed
horrifying.
How wonderful the description of the space was.
Yeah. Yeah. Rand
is in a dream shard, and he's talking with Moridin, and Moridin kind of like gives up a bunch of information about Sindane, about how Lantern hates him now.
Because Rand gives away that she came to meet him in a dream, and he's like mad at it.
Yeah. But Moridin just like loves telling Rand things that Rand didn't previously know that could have been used by Moridin. You
caught me monologuing.
But now Rand is like, now when Rand hears Sindane, he's gonna be like, oh, that's Lanfear? And like, Moridin is like, I don't want the element of surprise. Here, I will tell you my secrets.
Yeah, I want to beat you with brute force. Surprise is for schmucks.
But this conversation is fucking great.
Oh,
it is so good.
Yeah.
I am so glad Aviendha was satiated for 5 minutes so that we could have it. While
taking a
her
power
first
nap.
sister is fucking weeping over her burning city.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can't let go of it. It's so weird to me. The moment of like you need to win because the Dark One will never let you go is I was like, oh
Yeah.
my god.
That was some hefty stuff.
It was so written.
And then Rand scares the shit out of him because he just like takes control of his like dream shard.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Ooh, look what I can do." Oh, and also they're like, "Wait, were those things you pulled us into in book 1 dream shards as well?" And Moridin's like, like
Morty's there like, I don't know.
maybe I'm not gonna tell you.
Yeah.
I thought that was very funny.
Yeah.
Keep your secrets. Yeah, it was great.
But like also like Moridin knows that Rand has loose Luther's memories now, and he's still trying to be like sneaky, and I'm like, why?
Well, that's why he like gave shit away. 'Cause he's like, fuck it.
You're on the same page.
Pummel this guy into the ground.
No, I honestly, this scene was great. I wish more of the opening of this book felt more like this. Really tight, concise writing, like these character interactions that I feel like are very strong. Rand's realization of like, oh, you hate yourself.
Yeah.
You don't want to be evil.
Yeah.
You just literally don't have a choice. Dude, like Rand almost feels bad for Moridin here, and that is the best part of it.
Yeah.
And it works so well.
Yeah.
It is like
it's the pity.
Yeah.
That he does, that he can't stand. Yeah.
And that he scares Moridin away. It's like kind of like, oh, the big bad is scared of Rand.
When he's like, and Moridin's like, oh, you think your silly little trick on Weramon is gonna work? And I still don't understand what like the trick of like listening
Rand
to
figured
the
out who the Dark Friends were in that line because of who got scared when he started talking about knowing who the Dark Friends were.
Yeah. He's like, oh, listening to heartbeats isn't that cool? And I was like, oh yeah, that is like less like cool, but it actually makes sense.
It isn't about how you do it, though. It's about how you convince them that you did it.
Exactly.
And that's why it's still a great moment for Rand.
Exactly.
Like, the simpler the solution, but the more you sell how simple the solution is, fantastic, right?
Chef's kiss.
And Rand does such a good job in that scene of that.
Absolutely.
So yeah, he scares the shit out of Moridin. And Moridin runs away like a little crybaby because the villains in this series are children. They are teenagers fighting against a 400-year-old god.
Who hate themselves and got themselves into a terrible situation and can't do anything about it.
It should be the other way around.
What?
Like, the Dark One should be the, like, oppressive force, and Rand should... the David and Goliath of this moment is so strange to me, because Rand is Goliath, and Moridin is David.
Yeah.
And, like, they flipped it on its head, but there's not a lot of tension because Rand is Goliath.
Well, but it's also in a dream, so it doesn't matter. So I thought it was kind of cool because it just allowed this vulnerability and conversation to have. And
it's a great conversation.
And flesh out, like, the villains, you know, and flesh out Moridin a little more. I thought it was cool.
Right, but they fleshed him out by giving Rand power over him.
Yeah.
Which is, again, not what I want to see.
I thought that was great.
It would be, it is because Mahale and Demandred maybe are scary, but, like, Moridin is inherently not a threat right now. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I want him to be. I really want him to be a threat. So bad.
Yep. You want these books to be something they're not.
I know. And I think that's the problem is, like, I just want... I think that's it. I think the problem is that what I want from these books, I'm not getting.
Yeah, that's fair.
And that is, like, you know, like, adult relationships where, like, you show up for your partner when they're sad.
Yeah, you know, good
where
things
you tell the person who impregnated you that you're pregnant at some point in the first 7 months of your fucking pregnancy. Yeah. I'm sorry, I need to stop. I'm losing, this series is making me lose my mind over some of the, like, weirdest shit I've ever experienced in a novel ever.
Pavara is at the Black Tower.
Yeah, we're moving on. Pavara and...
You said everything you need to say about it.
They go and rescue Logain. And they kill a couple of people. And Pavara's like, oh, wow, they go lethal first. I never would have expected that.
Oh, no, she's like, oh, yeah, these people are weapons.
Yeah.
Like, it's a strong realization for her. Mm-hmm. Especially because Pavara, like, can't, like, you know, she believes that they're dark friends and stuff, so she can't attack, so it's no, like, problem. But, the lethal attack first, not super, feel like, not common for Pavara. Even the men who can channel, they try and capture and gentle before they kill them, which still kills them, which she says. But, yeah, it makes the initial interactions much different for these people.
Yeah, 1,000%. They break in, they do some damage. They're fucking papa-powing. It's really great. Pavara and the Ashaman working together here and like being careful about like attacking strategically using just enough of the power that people will feel that power was used, but not enough that it like raises alarm bells in the Black Tower.
And it's also so quick.
Yeah, and like the like negotiating of that I think was really interesting and I thought was really well handled.
Yeah, for sure.
Like this was really cool, and they find Logain, and then Tame shows up and collapses the roof on them, so they failed. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know how they're. Yeah.
I know how.
What? How
Circle.
What? Circle.
Yeah. Andrel, Logain, Pavara, boom, they're gonna fucking get out of there.
You think they're gonna be stronger than Mihail?
No, I think they're gonna escape.
Oh,
but I think that if Logain, with the amount of power that Logain can bring, and with Pavara,
or
because they deliberately said 2 guys, 1 girl, and that's never happened in the whole series. So it's being brought in. It's being mentioned here and brought in so that when Logain and Andrel and Pavara are linked, he's gonna have enough power to break the ward that's stopping them from traveling.
Or the Dream Shard was stabbed upstairs and it just fell into their laps.
No, because that's in the Tel'aran'rhiod. So like some, you know what I mean?
Okay, never mind.
Oh wait, yeah, I don't know if a circle would make them powerful enough to get through the Dream Shard though.
Well, but here's the thing. If they get knocked out from the roof collapsing and they go into Tel'aran'rhiod and they find the spike...
And are just really good at it really fast.
That's true. I don't know if any of them have ever
None
been
of them have literally
before.
ever been.
Yeah.
I don't know. I thought they were going to get away. They really didn't get away.
They did not get away.
And so it's interesting. I did not expect for Tame to get them. And now I'm like so worried for them.
Me too.
It is interesting that this is called like the advantages to a bond. I don't like. I get that like they communicate through the bond a little bit in this, but it didn't seem like the bond gave them that many advantages.
No, they were just able to talk without speaking out loud, which like is cool. But I didn't really understand the chapter title either.
Yeah, we've also have we ever seen characters like communicate with language through their bond?
No, just like feelings.
I know.
They send strong feelings.
And so it is another like new thing.
Yeah.
Right at the end.
Yeah.
And I think that I think that it's only because of the double bond, right? Yeah. I think that a single bond.
No one's ever been double bonded before.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, so they gotta
double bondage across the sky.
Yeah. Hot.
It was just interesting. This chapter I was like, because the whole time I was like reading it and like interested because I think this chapter is great. I think chapter 4 is very strong all the way through. But the whole time I was kind of like, have we haven't seen this before, right? And I don't think we have. I think it's the double bond thing.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah. And so they're that's the last we're gonna see of them this week. So we'll come back next week with more Andrel and Pavara.
Interesting. I wonder how the double bond is gonna affect their circle. Because maybe that is how they get out.
Maybe. I don't know.
Because it like adds something to it. And then they add Logain's power. Well, I don't know. Logain seems pretty weak, and he's got the T. So I actually think. Tea? Yeah, he's been given Fork Root.
Oh, I fucking missed that.
Yeah. He was given Fork Root.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yep. So
I thought all the Fork Root was used to flood the fucking lake.
All the Fork Root in the world. No, that was like.
It felt like it.
That was weeks ago.
Hey, do you have 12 tons of Fork Root?
There's actually plenty of plants growing in Randland right now. You know?
Yeah, so many plants. A place notorious for plants.
Yeah.
What are people eating? Don't ask.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. There's no fucking food.
They eating the grass that Rand is currently standing on because it turns green.
There's literally a limit on how many more days the series can go because there's nothing for anyone to fucking eat.
They need food. Girls gotta eat.
Honestly, the Shadow is gonna win just because the fucking humans are all gonna be too weak to lift their swords by the time they actually fight anybody.
They don't have any calories to ingest.
So we're with Rand. He wakes up and Avienda's like, okay, you're going to the meeting. I need a boon from you. Rand magically showers them off with mist in what is like one of the like...
It was hot.
It made me think of like the Barbie shower. Because it's like...
There's no water?
No, he just is like... Blah, 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 and it just felt... This felt very anime-y to me. And like the smoke, they're fully nude in the scene, but the smoke is covering their bits. So it's like the like anime sauna scenes.
Yeah. That's fair.
And she's like, "Oh, you're so foolish for
washing me
quickly with magic." And he's like, sure, foolish, cool. We're clean now. And she's like,
it.
I will require a boon of you. And he's like, what boon? She's like, can't tell you.
Don't worry about it. Yeah.
And he's like,
all right, cool.
Great. That sounds rad.
Yeah.
And then we cut over to Elayne. Elayne is in the White Tower. She dreams about the world cracking. And as she's trying to tie it together with cords. What do you think this dream means?
I think this is like the seals breaking and her trying to like mend it with cords and it's not holding together. Like it costs too much.
I think the cords are all of the people she's bringing to the meeting to try and keep things together, not realizing that it has to break. That was kind of my reading of it. Was that like all of these cords she's tying around are like the different kings she's bringing to disagree with Rand. But the globe is already shattered, and she's just like not acknowledging that.
That makes sense, kind of, because there's like a pillar of glass, which might be tying into Aviendha going through Meridian again. So
yeah, she wakes up and Gawain's there, reading about Camelin, and she's like, "Why are you reading my mail?" And he's like,
"It wasn't sealed.
It wasn't sealed, and it's my home." And she's like, "Yeah, that's fine."
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, it would be really awful of me for me to expect you to sit there while there's news about your fucking house on the table and for you to just, like, not read that.
Yeah.
Because we're in a relationship.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, shit, the meeting starts in 30 minutes. Let's go. And then they speed run.
How the fuck did that happen?
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
They have clocks.
Doesn't matter.
Gawain.
Don't worry about it.
Gawain has time blindness, confirmed.
No, he was reading the thing, and they are like, oh, it's in 30 minutes. It's on the letter. So he was just in the middle of reading it. He hadn't gotten to that part yet.
Yeah.
Because it's supposed to go to Egwene's tent, right? But Elayne is in the White Tower, so they had to get it from her tent to the White Tower for her to get it, so.
Yeah, no, it's just so funny to me that, like, there's no way she's ready in 30 minutes.
She's got maids and prestidigitation, you know?
True.
You just, oh, I'm clean.
So the meeting begins. Everyone shows up. Rodrin shows up. They have the moment we talked about earlier where he's like, "You're not Demandred." And
it's still very confusing for me.
As they watch Rand kind of show up to this meeting, the grass around him gets greener because he is Jesus.
Yes.
And so he's like, "You can all bring 5 people. This tent must be huge."
Yeah, if each Yule clan brings 5 people, that's like
100 people.
Jesus Christ.
We can't do math. It's like 55 people.
We're bisexual.
Because I think there's only 11 clans left, right?
I don't actually know
or
how
12.
many
Where
clans.
isn't there 13 in the Shidolf? So it would be 60 people. Doesn't matter.
I don't know.
What matters is that Rand makes 3 demands of the people. Demand number 1, peace. Demand number 2, demand number 2. Demand number 3 is that he leads. What's demand number 2? That the seals get broken.
Oh, demand. Oh, I was like, what are you saying?
And what begins is weeks of negotiations that they handle in about 25 minutes.
Yeah, it was great. Honestly, we love speedrunning negotiations.
I was both pleased with it and also like, how fast are these clerks writing?
These poor clerks. Good thing there's a bunch of them.
Okay, my question to you is, do you think that Rand put enough effort into his initial proposal?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, look, here's the thing. The reason that a person has advisors is because you cannot factor in everything yourself. Like, there are a lot of people who have good ideas, and those good ideas come to fruition because they have people to bounce them off of, right? And I don't think that Rand has brought this to people because it's meant to be a surprise, and I don't know if he, trusts anyone to keep it a secret. And so I think that he put in as much thought as he could, and that when you are the one with an idea, sometimes there are blind corners that you miss, and that's why collaborative efforts usually work out the best. When you have differences of opinion who all come together to figure stuff out, which is what happens in the scene. I think he put a lot of work into this initial thing, but he is one person with one single perspective, and that is usually what leads to the downfalls of whether it's projects or negotiations or whatever the hell it is. You need a team. It takes a village, you know?
I guess in my mind, because everyone kind of brings up problems very quickly that I think are very obvious.
They're obvious to us from the outside, but we're not the person who is going to go die and sacrifice ourselves, leaving everything behind and desperately trying to leave behind a better world.
I agree with that. I'm saying that, like, the perspective that I have is, like, I feel like Rand should have brought in advisors, and I guess maybe he couldn't, but it just seems like now is a little bit late, because I'm glad the book speed runs through solving the issues, because I didn't want to read chapters and chapters of negotiations.
No, I think it was handled really well.
But at the same time, I also feel like, realistically, the amount of time it would have taken to implement the language of what these changes are would have been, like, weeks.
Well, by our standard society, because there's laws and shit around legally binding contracts and blah blah blah. They don't have any of that bullshit.
No, but they do, right? There's like multiple clerks trying to write out what they're talking about, and
in a clear and concise way. But there's no like statute, like there, like lawyers have to, use specific language, and they've deliberately used language that is confusing so that people can find loopholes and that things are not solid, right? That they're not trying to do any of that. They're trying to be as clear and concise as possible, and so they don't have to worry about all the fucking loophole workarounds.
I think that one of my concerns is that adding addendums quickly leads to, like, maybe not thinking out all the consequences of those addendums.
Maybe.
And like I feel
they
like
they gotta work fast. They don't have a choice.
No, I know they don't. I just, it felt like it felt like the negotiations moved a little bit quickly. And like one of the big questions that I had that the chapter didn't introduce that I thought it was going to is, where are the Aiel going to live if they are going to be the police of the world? And like they don't get into like the fact that they're like, oh yeah, we'll just go to the Aiel. But the Aiel, like, one of the big questions I had coming out of this negotiation is, okay, but like where are the Aiel in this? Mm-hmm. And like so there's a lot of...
They have a role, but they don't have a home.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
And so there's this element of like Rand is rushing this negotiation, and I feel like he's missing some of the key components of how it's going to work.
Yeah.
And I found that very interesting. Mm-hmm. But at the same, and I liked this. I actually really did. I liked the way the scene was handled. I thought all of the characters brought their points of view really well, except Elayne, who I was a little bit frustrated with how she presented herself in this.
Yeah.
Especially in her relationship to Rand and her relationship to Egwene. I feel like she kind of got shuttled into this weird, like, everyone is looking at her for how she's responding to things, and I didn't really get what she actually thought of anything.
Yeah.
And that's the tough thing of like perspectives, and they couldn't have gotten into everybody's point of view. I just thought Elayne should have been centered a little bit more in this, in a way that she was kind of only centered in people wondering if her relationship to Rand was affecting her.
Yeah, I honestly didn't really give a shit about Elayne in this scene. I thought the relationship between Egwene and Rand was really fascinating because they both actually made good points. Like, Egwene's points actually made a lot of sense. And if you're going to break them, it doesn't need to be today, right? Like, I was like, oh, well, yeah, duh. Like, you want to break it at the moment where you like, strategically can use that surprise to your advantage, right?
Oh, I was so happy that Egwene
had reasonings.
Well, had reasonings and also was flexible.
Yeah.
Like, one of the things I really want to commend Egwene's characterization in the scene on is that I was really scared. I was kind of scared when she became the Amyrlin seat that she was going to be this, like, brick wall in Rand's way. Mm-hmm. And despite the fact that it seemed like she was going to be that for a while, in the moment where people, like, bring her reasonable requests and reasonable arguments, she is flexible.
Which we're gonna get to because fucking Moraine shows up.
Yeah, who walks in the door when it all seems lost, when it does seem like it's falling apart, because everyone is like, hey, there's some big problems with this document.
Some tension.
We get to our final chapter of the week, which is... Moraine.
She's great. I was like, oh my god, we're reading chapter 6, right? Because I was like, I can't stop right now.
It would have, guys, if you had ended us on chapter 5 for the split, I would have been very mad.
Rude. That would have been so fucking.
But I understand why we ended at the end of chapter 6. I will say there was a period of this podcast at the beginning where I said, oh hey, this takes a lot from Lord of the Rings, and then there was a period where it was like, oh, it kind of got away from the Lord of the Rings, and then this book is the Two Towers, and
what?
Yes, this is 1000%.
Why?
The Two Towers.
Why?
Because Gandalf the White shows up, convinces everyone to go to war, and then they go and save land by charging in at the last minute. It is the Two Towers. It is the dawn of the 5th day, and they use portals to do it instead of just coming down the fucking hill.
Oh, so you're saying that no, because Moraine doesn't convince them. Moraine is already there. Rand is like, we have a friend to go help.
I'm
It's
saying
not
that
the same at all.
Moraine shows up just in time to get all of the negotiations into the right place so that they can get the army of horses into the battle at the right time to ride at the last second.
Sure, whatever you say.
If Moraine hadn't showed up, they would have argued for another hour, shown up, and Lan would have been fucking dead.
Probably.
Moraine shows up, Gandalf the White's that shit, and then they show up at the last second to save the day. It is the fucking two towers.
Gandalf had a schedule to upkeep, you know what I mean?
Sure. I'm just saying, this was the two towers. That's not a bad thing, because it's great. Chapter 6, fantastic. The way Moraine walks around the room, fucking bringing up all of the different pieces of the prophecy.
She just recites the full Corinthian, however you pronounce it, and is like, boom, 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 and everyone, and she's like, Moraine is like, lawyered, and everyone's like, yeah, okay, shit, you're right. Like,
here's what I'll say about the reading this week. First half of the prologue, didn't love it. Second half of the prologue, loved it. First half of the chapters, 1, 2, 3, didn't love it. Second half of the chapters, 4, 5, 6, loved it. And that is how I feel about the reading this week.
Fair.
50% of it, I think, is fucking 10 out of 10 Wheel of Time shit, and the other is 6 out of 10 Wheel of Time shit.
Okay, 6 out of 10 still ain't
You know
bad.
what I mean? And then there's some stuff that's lower, but like that's just because it's weird for me, and like it might not touch people the same way.
Yeah.
But chapters 4, 5, 6, bangers.
Yeah.
Other than Rand and Avienda's sex, which I still feel like could have happened at a different time in the night.
Yeah.
The banging stuff. The meeting was great. The Moraine's moments in this meeting, so good. I really appreciated her telling all of the Corinthian cycle in order.
She is the sole person who has studied it her entire life. Like, it felt like it was like her like purpose for like existing in this world, because people all do seem to exist for a purpose, right? And she like has hers, and it's because she knows this shit better than anybody alive. And, you know, not saying that her interpretations of it are law, but they do seem to conveniently fit into exactly what needs to happen to move this thing forward. And so everyone kind of comes together and is like, oh shit, yeah, I think you might be right.
Yeah.
You know, this shit's gonna fall apart. People have to do this, blah, 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 blah. It all kind of comes together in a poetic way. And I really thought it was cool that Moraine got to have that moment, you know, and I thought that Rand and her had that moment, and that Fael's like, no, Perrin, because Rand is like, yeah.
I have a question for you. Where do you think Matt is? And why isn't he there?
I think he's on his way to Tuon, and that's gonna be the reason that Rand gets her to sign.
I just didn't think about Tuon, that we still have to deal with her.
Yes, we still have to deal with Tuon.
Let's get into the thing that I hated.
Wait, what? Are we moving on?
Nope, it's in this.
Okay, because there's also a thing that bothers me.
They have done horrible things, Rand said, but so far the lands they have taken have benefited from strong leadership. If forced to it, I am content to allow them the lands they have, so long as they do not spread further. As for the women, what is done is done. Let us worry about the world itself first, then do what we can for those held captive. Rand, if you want peace, you are going to have to free those women, because nobody is going to accept your peace if their fucking wives, daughters, and sisters are being held as slaves.
Yeah. Well, and that's what
it's
happens.
Missing the whole fucking point.
But that is what happens in the future Avienda sees. It is exactly that. And so it is Rand falling into this trap. And like us as the readers, we're like, no, Rand, no, because we know what happens if they don't like get those women back, if they can't figure out a way to end slavery.
I don't know how the book wants me to feel about Rand Almore, the protagonist of the series.
Althor.
Oh my god. Althor, the protagonist of the series, saying the people there are benefiting from slavery. It's fucking PragerU bullshit, where Frederick Douglass in that video is voiced by a white man saying, yeah, but the slaves, the founding fathers of America had to accept slavery because they knew that if they wanted to build America, that the southern states needed to have the economic advantage. Like, that paragraph to me is so insane to write. It is like slavery apologism at a level that I don't think you should put into a novel. And I did not like it. And when I say there's a couple things in this that made me not like the reading this week, even though I do think the chapters have some 10 out of 10 stuff, this was the paragraph where I put the book down and went, fuck, don't have my main character, who is supposed to be at the end of his learned life, like, you know what I mean? He's at the end of his arc. Go, there's not. Yeah, no. We'll get to the slavery if we can.
Here's the thing. I understand Rand being like, the devil comes first, and then we don't take this shit. You know what I mean? If he's like, look, this has to come first and foremost, and then we will get these people back. It's the fact that he's so nonchalant about it. He's like, yeah, I mean, sucks to suck, I guess. Like.
But it is but so far the lands they have taken have benefited from strong leadership. If forced to it, I'm content to allow them the lands they have is insane to me.
The land they have, okay, fine, whatever. They've already like integrated those brewers and people, like whatever. The land, fine. The people, yeah, no, fuck that. Fuck that.
Nicholas Cardillo says peace equals compromise. That is not true. No. I'm so sorry. That is not true. Peace is not compromise, unfortunately. Peace is a one party being dominant and being kind about it. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah.
Compromise tends to compromise falls apart 100% of the time and leads to war. Do you not know how we know this? Because human beings have never not been at war. We're at war every 20 years with somebody. It keeps happening. There's no compromise. Compromise doesn't work because we get mad at each other. Eventually we go to war. Compromising with the Sanchin leads to war. And it is the idea that Rand is saying he's going to get the Sanchin to sign this document, but not get the women back, and that everyone else will remain okay with the fact that their women are slaves forever, and that they won't. That is not compromise. That is insanity. Rand is setting himself up to fail here, and there's no world, there is not a single fucking world in which Rand's peace lasts if the Sanchin have slaves. That's not how life works. And it has never worked in human history.
And that's why I think that Matt is on his way to Tuan. Like, I think that there's going to be a kind of almost similar scene with negotiations and, like, figuring shit out. But I think that, yeah, Matt is headed exactly where he needs to be for the world to be healed once the Dark One is dealt with.
I have such a huge problem with the language of the lands. The people of those lands have benefited from strong leadership. And it's like, yes, the benefits of slavery are obvious. But that doesn't make the slavery okay.
Yeah.
Like, it is the most unhinged fucking apologistic language coming from who is supposed to be our main character. And it's so disappointing. And I was another moment. I put the book down for a second and was like, I have to finish the reading because I have to go to bed before book club tomorrow. But yeah, I have a real problem with the way that Rand is being handled here, and I don't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
Because if this series ends with Rand being like, we're gonna have peace, but we're gonna accept the slavery, I will never read The Wheel of Time again.
Yeah.
If that is the button at the end of this series, is that Rand accepts slavery so that they can have peace, I will put this series down and I will never open it again, because that is garbage. It's a garbage ending that we should not accept.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Colonel Sanders says they have benefited from leadership, not slavery, per Rand. Colonel Sanders,
that's the same,
what are you talking about?
That's the exact same
thing.
thing.
The leadership is strong because they don't have to pay their workers.
Yeah, because they have slaves.
That's why they have strong leadership.
They have literal war machine slaves.
The strong leadership in this instance is women who wear collars and are forced to enforce the laws of the land, but are slaves. That is what the leadership is.
And also, like, slaves who are, like, indebted in, like, the military and who have to go die. Like, it's just, the Sanchin have, like, so many different forms of slavery in their culture that, like, you literally cannot separate them. So it doesn't
If you fuck
matter.
up, if you make a social faux pas in the Sanchin, you become a duc oval.
Yep.
Like, it's an insane level of slavery.
Yeah.
Rand being like, well, they benefited from strong leadership, to me is like the most unhinged right-wing talking point, trying to apologize for slavery. And I don't think that Brandon Sanderson is intentionally doing that. I don't think Robert Jordan is intentionally doing that. I think that this is a faux pas that they have made. I think that this is a mistake that is not an intentional thing. But I think that to divorce the leadership of the Sanchin from their slavery is kind of crazy.
I think the language is extremely poor and not well thought out at all, because that is kind of what it when you leave the wiggle room for people to be able to have these like arguments about it.
Yes.
You were not clear enough. These are the kinds of things that like are so real and in our in our world as a whole that they do need to be handled with care.
Yeah.
And this was not handled with care.
I don't think it ever was. I don't think the slavery element of the Sanchin has ever been handled well.
No, we've had that conversation several times, but this is just kind of another instance of that. And the fact that Rand is like, yeah, I mean, afterwards, like maybe we'll try and figure something out. You know, like he's supposed to be our hero, and I understand the needing to deal with the Dark One first. But that does absolutely not excuse just letting the Sanchin take and keep slaves because, maybe we'll get to it. You know, doesn't work for me.
Skip Platt says, we are much more aware of the nuances now than when it was written. This book is from 2010. What?
Yeah.
This book isn't from 1945.
Yeah.
This book is from 50 years after Martin Luther King was shot. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
It's 2010, right? When did this book come out?
Somewhere around there.
Guys, this book is a decade old. We didn't discover slavery was bad in 2020.
Some people. 2012?
2012! Guys, I was in college. I was in college taking a class about slavery at the time. The things that I'm saying now, I didn't learn in the last couple of years. I was learning from a textbook that was 15 years old, 10 years ago. Like, I'm sorry, but like the way slavery's been handled in this series is not good. And it is apologistic in nature, and it's very problematic. And I hope that the rest of the books handles it in a way that washes this taste out of my mouth. I really do. The way that Rand's written in this moment does not give me hope.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, but the idea that Rand is going to get the Sanchin to sign the paper, but keep the slaves, and they'll deal with the slaves with a different paper after is dumb. It makes Rand's whole paper toothless and pointless because there is no peace while the Sanchin have slaves. Mm-hmm. There just isn't, right? The Aiel are not going to accept that just because a piece of paper says that they have to.
Yeah.
And if Rand isn't around to fight the Sanchin after and they don't have the power, the Sanchin will sign the piece of paper, and then who gives a fuck? If they can overpower the Aiel, then the police system that Rand is implementing doesn't work.
And then everyone in this tent is just like okay with it, right? Like Egwene knows that a bunch of her channelers were stolen from the White Tower and are slaves of the Sanchin. I don't buy that Egwene is like, oh yeah, we'll worry about them later. Too bad, so sad for them. Like, I don't buy that, especially because Egwene had a collar on her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
At one point, like, that moment is kind of just like whatever glazed over in this scene. I think really does a disservice to it. The one thing that I like also didn't love about the scene is that like. The way that it's set up, it's implied that in the version of the future that Aviendha sees, the Aiel never read this paper.
Yeah, they did. They're just not on it.
No. But I'm saying, like, here's the thing. All the Aiel are in agreement that it is tough for them to, like, Rand has tough if they're not included in this paper. And so you're saying that in the future version that Aviendha saw, none of the Aiel bothered to read it to see if they were on there, and they were all just, like, fine with it. Like
no, I think
the way that they behave in this moment is, like, Rand insults us by not including us on this paper. Now, there is the added layer of knowing the future and the wise one standing up with Aviendha, but even Ruark is like, yeah, we need to, like, it is rude for you to not include us. And so I don't, unfortunately, I'm sorry, I don't really buy into this version of the future, that it played out like this. that Avienda didn't read it. None of the Aiel read it. None of them signed it. They all were like, yeah, no, fuck it. We don't need to be a part of it. Like, they all agree that Rand has toe towards them because they're not on the paper. There's no fucking way nobody didn't say anything. Because here's only the wise ones know about the future thing. Ruark and the other clan chiefs, they don't know.
Yeah, they buy in immediately.
Yeah, they're like,
I agree with
that's
that.
so rude. Why would we not be included? And so the fact that, like, it didn't play out like that and Avian, like, I just don't buy it. I think it's, like, a little bit weak, to be honest, that it's just that they needed to be included in this paper because there's no fucking way that the Aiel would be left out in any version of the future.
I wonder if in that version of the future, though, they didn't know and Rand died. And so he just wasn't around for them to be mad at him. And so the next generation had moved on.
The paper is in that room and nobody asks the Aiel to sign it.
Oh, yeah. But, like, they might have just been mad but they've been mad at Rand for books, right?
Sure.
Yeah. Seamus O'Toole brings up an interesting thought. Like, I've always thought this acceptance of Sanchin slavery was akin to the Allies accepting the USSR assistance in exchange for Eastern Europe in World War II. I can see some parallels there. I think that, like, the problem with it is that the USSR didn't invade America or even, like, invade Europe and take a bunch of European slaves and then keep them as slaves. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I can't see them letting that happen.
Like, the difference here is that the USSR, it wasn't holding... And also, we did go to war with the USSR for, like, the Cold War was, like, 50 years. Here's my problem with it. If you're going to use that as a comparison, then Rand has to accept that the future of the world that he's leaving behind is the Cold War. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's not like World War II ended and then the USSR and the Allies were great, right? Shit was really bad for a long time. Duck and cover was a thing.
Yeah, it was not a good time. Like, it didn't work out for anybody. So...
But that's... And so, like, I think that if you're trying to use this as a reason why the peace could work... The Cold War was 50 years of really badness, and then look at where we are right now. Like,
yeah, shit
I'm just saying,
still sucks.
If you want to use that analogy, then you have to use the analogy of, and also it led to a lot of war, and it led to international conflicts between the USSR and the United States in a variety of proxy wars, and that we are currently right now have Russia in a war with an ally of the United States. So the idea that that could lead to peace, we know is not true. And we knew in 2012 that it wasn't true because the USSR's involvement in World War II did end the Nazi regime 1,000%. And then there was a lot of problems.
And then there were issues.
Yeah, like it's not like that was a clean ending that led to peace.
Yeah.
And so I think that, like, my point is that I don't know. It's also just the USSR wasn't like occupying. I guess Poland. Like it's complicated, but.
Yeah, it is incredibly complicated. We're just saying that the language that Rand uses in this scene is, like, kind of gross and doesn't feel like it's handled very well because he's like, oh, well, you know, the Sanchin, I guess, are taking care of their people, so I guess it's not that bad. Like, that just feels very apologist and icky, right? And Rand is supposed to be our hero. Rand is now Jesus Christ, as a human being.
Yeah.
And so, having your Jesus character say things like that doesn't really sit right. Like that's not great. It's not great. Doesn't feel great. And the fact that every other person in this meeting doesn't say anything. It's not an issue. They're all just like, oh yeah, totally fine. Like someone should have had something to say, and it should have been Egwene.
I also think that I find it very interesting that this series is so toothless towards its characters, but is willing to have so much slavery. And there's a lot of people who defend this series as being like, yeah, but the slavery is realistic. And I'm like, yeah, but the character surviving all the war scenes isn't. So if we're going to have magical fantasy that is, like, literally incapable of allowing its characters to lose fights, why is our magical fantasy that is fun for the main characters who get to do all these big battles also so dredged down by slavery? If you want this to be a grim, dark series with the slavery being very realistic, then you kind of have to give that to the main characters as well. Mm-hmm. But I think that maybe part of the problem I have with what the Wheel of Time does is that it has the background stuff be all grim, dark, and very bad and awful all the time. But the foreground stuff is all very positive and nobody's ever really hurt and our characters always win and the villains are egotistical idiots.
Yeah.
And like the disparity of those two things feels off to me. Right?
Yeah.
And like I think that maybe if our main characters felt more of the negativity of the world, then when it brings in like the slavery in the background, it wouldn't be so much a like in the background everything's awful, but our main characters were fucking like crazy last night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that that's where this is getting weird and where it feels a little bit off, is that it wants to have that, but it doesn't want to put its main characters in danger ever.
And also, I'm sorry, Elayne's joke felt like weirdly out of place.
Which joke?
She's like, oh yes, welcome to the meeting, try the soup or whatever. I was like, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah, she's sassy now because she had to like feel her lovers having sex while she was watching her house burn.
That joke just felt like so out of context in this series. Like I was like, where the fuck did that come from? Like I was like, I've never seen Elayne kind of have that sense of humor in such a like modern like 20s colloquial way. Like it that one was really strange to me.
Glenn Peterson, thank you for that super chat.
Thank you for the super chat.
I think Rand's train of thought is that the best he can do is prevent more channelers from being enslaved. Then be honest about that.
Yeah, it's
is
his phrasing of it,
yes.
which makes it, I think, poor.
It is the difference between Rand saying I hate everything about them, and I literally cannot do anything about it right now, and him saying the people of the Sanjin have benefited under their strong leadership. That is the difference, right?
Yeah.
And it is the language that specifically that I have a problem with here.
Yeah.
It is the paragraph of Rand saying they've benefited, but you guys, maybe we don't need to handle them because the slavery has made it really great there.
Yeah.
I have to pay my people, so it is harder to keep them happy. You know what I mean? And that is the problem.
It's just way too close to that. Like, it feels very...
It is the difference between Rand acknowledging that he can't do anything about it, but how bad it is, and saying they've benefited from strong leadership, which is not... Like, nobody talks about Stalin, and is like, the people of Russia benefited from from Stalin's strong leadership. We say, Stalin's... the system, not Shtetl. What is the system called? The system. The serf system killed like 16 million people, and Stalin was awful. We also couldn't go to war with him because he had nukes, right? Nobody's. We're not saying like, yeah, but the Russians really benefited under his strong leadership.
Yeah.
They didn't. It was fucking awful.
Yeah. Oh, the German economy really flourished under Hitler. You know what I'm saying?
It did, but that was also for awful reasons.
Well, and that's what I mean. Yeah. It's for awful reasons.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah, and so that is where like the language of this moment was bad. I think that Rand saying we can't fight the Sanchin right now isn't what I have a problem with. Mm-hmm. It is they've benefited under strong leadership that I'm like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Like, it's very strange that Rand would have this language feels very, gross.
Yeah, not my favorite.
Anyway, that was a long conversation. Sorry, we kind of got into it at the end, but...
Everyone signs a treaty. You know, things are, like, the ball is rolling, Moraine is getting shit done, and Rand is like, all right, I'm glad that we got this party fucking started, because we got to go help a friend. Oh, and we didn't really talk about Elayne being given the control of the army. I don't think that really works for either of us, but we're going to read and find out.
You have so many people who are good at this.
Yeah, and we're moving on from that.
So give it to Lan.
We talked.
Go save Lan, and then give it to Lan.
I don't know. Lan, I don't actually know if Lan has been shown to be a military strategist.
Well, no, he's riding to die. No, give it to Gareth and Rodell.
Give it to Gareth.
Like, Rodell Ituralde. Davram Bashir. Rand, you know who has never let you down? Who's been by your side against all odds? Davram motherfucking Bashir is right there. And he's like, Elayne, I know you're pregnant. I know that you just watched your home burn to the ground.
All the stress in the world.
Like, it doesn't make any sense.
I know!
She's maybe the worst choice in the room.
And here's the thing. Rand has gone into battle with Mat and knows his special powers. Even though Mat's not there... Like, Mat is not present in the room, but, like, is a better...
He just watched Perrin ride home with the largest army of people who all will happily die for him because he's the best fucking leader ever. Mm-hmm. And he's like, Elayne, hi. You didn't even check in on your own city when they didn't check in It took 3 missed check-ins for you to check in on your
6
own
hours?
city. It took 3 missed check-ins for you to check in on your own city last night. Would you like to lead the armies of all of the earth?
Yeah.
You can't
Anyways.
fucking take care of one town.
Anyways, yeah. If you were reading this and in the moment you thought Elayne was a great choice, I would love to hear from you. This one genuinely baffled me. Don't get it. But it's fine because we end on a really fucking cool moment because Lan is over at Tarwin's Gaptooth. Sorry.
Oh my god, this was great.
So good.
All of it was great.
Good.
From the setup of the beginning of like, there's only about 6,000 of them left. They're 300ing this bullshit. Lan's like, we're gonna pull back to an open field where once upon a time, a circle of 5 women called lightning down. Or where Rand appeared and called lightning down, depending on which version you're talking about. We are going to line up, and then we are going to charge. We're going to have our last charge. And look, is the placement of the gateways convenient? Don't care. This is such a cool moment.
Doesn't matter.
That they're like popping in and we're riding and a charge of 6,000 becomes a charge of 100,000. We're going to fucking war.
We're
chills.
War. It was so good. Cause like Lan is like, it was the moment that Lan looks back and is like 10,000. Well, he's like, am I just really bad at math? Like, and it's no, he survived because he has friends. Friends are good.
The power of love.
Yeah.
This moment is just, it's great. Like, and the
good.
guy riding next to Lan, who he's like, get back to the med tent. And he's like, why? I'm gonna fucking die. I'm gonna die holding on to my fucking horse.
His friend, yeah. He's like, oh, so they're all gonna kill you and then come kill me?
We didn't talk about Talmanes' friend who was like, I'll kill you when you're ready. Which was like so sweet. So sweet.
That's a G. That's a bro, you know? A real bro.
This really was the like Avengers Endgame moment of this series, and it works so well.
So good.
And like, you know, like I've had my complaints about why Lan is doing this and why I kind of like, is Lan gonna be upset that he's still alive at the end of this charge? You know what I mean?
I didn't die here. No.
I was supposed to be dead. Hi, wife.
No, he's happy. He's happy.
But yeah, it was it is such a good moment. It's so well written. Lan's strategy of like, no, if we're gonna die running forward, not backwards. I totally relate to. I totally understand where he's coming from with that.
I get it. Yeah.
It really everything about Lan's dialogue with I can't remember his name. With Andir. No, it's not Andir.
J. It starts with a J.
No, it starts with an A. Doesn't it?
Oh no, Jofil is the banner. And Andir.
Yeah, Andir.
Yeah.
I was right.
Andre. I have no idea how to pronounce that one. Andy. It's Andy.
Andy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the
Lan's
way
friend Andy.
The way that this was handled. 1, 2, 3, 4. Luker says, does this chapter make it worth it? Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like I still don't love all of it, but like this moment, a lot of heavy lifting. And honestly, the last 2 Lan POVs have been really great. With the like moment at the wall where the prince is like, we're coming. Yeah. Like that we're coming stuff works. The reason for the start of this march doesn't work. Everything about the march and this moment do work for me. Yeah. It's just like the reason behind it that maybe doesn't, but that's fine. Like,
yeah, and he's like Lan has like the moment where he's like, I'm proud to have like given you your Hadori, and they have all this like, you know, Borderlands like Valkyrie like camaraderie. I think really ties in so much of like previous stuff to this. Yeah. That brings it together and makes it work. So fucking good. So fucking good. So good.
Yeah. Yeah. It was great. I'm so happy that Lan's alive because I love him. I don't think he survives the book, but
I don't know if he survives the book either, but
I don't know who he fights though.
Maybe he kills Mihail.
Yeah. It was pretty special. People are asking in the chat. Next week we're gonna do 7 through 20 of the book.
Okay. I was about to pull up the pins because I wasn't sure.
Guys. I'm sorry if I was a little bit negative this week. I'm really hoping I like next week's more. I really do. Like, I really want to love this final book, and there was a lot of stuff in this first section that didn't work for me. For a variety of reasons. But we're gonna do 7 through 20. Someone commissioned chapter 14.
Yes, and I think Arzu reached out about a pending one. I think my internet's just shitting the bed.
Oh, okay.
So that's my bad. I think there is a possible commission for chapter 30 as well. Thank you for sharing that split, because I was going to try and pull it up. But yes, next week is chapter 17 to 20.
7 through 20.
Sorry, 7 through 20.
And we'll be reacting to 14.
Yes, and then the following week is 21 to 28, then 29 to 36, 37 to 39, and then 40 to the end. Just so you guys know, we will not be doing book club at Dragon Con. So there is 1 week off, the first or something. Whatever day.
The weekend of Dragon Con, we're not doing any work this year because we worked so hard last year and it kind of like got in the way of our enjoyment of Dragon Con.
Yeah, but we will be doing the one during Fan Expo.
Yeah. So next week and then the week after, and then so 3 weeks from now, no book club, and then through September we're just finishing the books. Yeah. We're just gonna get to the end, and then we'll probably do a couple of we'll probably do a full book recap, and then we'll do like a full series recap.
Well, yeah, and we also, we've got the Wheel of Time Civilization game to play.
Yeah.
We're also,
that won't be in the book club slot, though.
I think we should maybe, pre-record, a tier list for before the last battle, and then after the last battle, do, a live-streamed tier list, a finale tier list kind of thing.
I'm also very excited to play the Wheel of Time video game. I've been waiting until the end of the series, and so I'm going to stream, I'm probably going to play Baldur's Gate 3 first. But then after that, I'm very excited to play the video game and see what that is, the first-person shooter Wheel of Time game.
Well, here's the thing. We need to make sure that it's not too old that we can actually stream it. Because some games... Remember how I had issues with the Lego game and, KOTOR and things like that?
We'll see. Maybe I'll stream that, the week we do the last battle. We'll lead up to the last battle with some FPS video gaming on the channel. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah. Dakuna says, as far as you can say stuff on it regards to the strikes, do you have things you can say about the reactions? Just the patrons will see stuff that that we can't put publicly because we don't want to promote anything. If you're part of the Patreon, you'll see, we have a contract with our patrons that I want to hold to, but anything related to season 2 or anything will come after the strike ends.
Yes, afterwards. For at least for public stuff, just because we're not gonna. Yeah. But we're gonna there's gonna be a lot of stuff for us to make content about, which we're excited. So
all right, every week on the show we do high-low, much like my family's dinner table, where we commiserate over each other's lows, celebrate each other's highs. Clarus goes high, I go low. She goes low, I go high, because we compliment sandwich this beesh. Clarus, what was your high of Memory of Light chapters prologue through 6?
Man, I have to go with the obvious one here. Because it was just too good, but the moment that Lan looks back and sees 10,000 people, just sent chills through my body. It was so fucking good. I loved it. That whole last, 2 pages, so fucking good. Yeah. Oh, that whole last section, so fucking good. Loved it. 10 out of 10. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, what was your low?
Talmanes not dying.
Oh, okay. I thought that was going to be...
No, Talmanes not dying, because everything after that I didn't love was partially influenced by the fact that what I wanted from the beginning of this book was so lacking, which was raising the stakes, and instead I actually felt like it lowered them again. And so for me, the Talmanes dying moment was the one where I kind of tuned out a little bit.
Because it would have been my high.
It would have been. My high would have been the ground shuddered when he fell, or whatever the exact words are. That would have been my high of the week. Yeah. And instead, the fact that was a rug pull set the tone for my reading this week. And I found it very disappointing. And I'm not going to pick up the book through the weekend. I think I'm going to allow my brain to reset, and I think I'm going to start chapter 7 with a fresh mindset. Yeah. Because I do feel like I was influenced a little bit by how disappointing that moment was to me. And so I think that and the Elayne, Avienda Rand stuff was just very.
Well, let me have my low, because my low is the lack of utter communication between our characters, where in the first couple books, we kind of complained about it, but also our characters were near the beginning of their journey in this series. I think by the final book, we should have characters who actually have learned to communicate and the value of that, and it just kind of seemed like it was 2 steps back. And that was unfortunate for me. It is what it is. I didn't love it.
Yeah, my high is definitely Moraine walking around the room delivering the Crathian cycle. That was like, if I can't have
That
the land
also-
moment, because you took the land moment.
Yeah, that also gave me chills.
Moraine coming into the room and making really strong art, like not just being like, listen to me because I came back from death, but being like, yeah, no, you're making a great point, Egwene. Here's my rebuttal. And Egwene going, well, with your rebuttal, that makes sense. I thought that the way Moraine's return was handled was so well done. Maybe we didn't talk about it enough because that Rand paragraph kind of overshadowed it. But I thought Moraine's return, and the arguments she was making using the language of the Crathian cycle was really, really, really wonderful. And I just thought was so well handled. And it you know, like,
well set up.
We didn't say it, but like Rand falling to his knees in front of her, and her being like, I should kneel before you. Hey, what's up, Lord of the Rings?
Oh my god.
What?
No.
What? It's the fucking Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
You kneel before no man. Anyway, it is, yeah, there's just something really special about her just kind of like walking around the room, making eye contact with everybody and convincing them through her words in the way that Rand doesn't have the like maturity to do, and like showing why Rand needs Moraine in a way that like Cadsuane could never. Cadsuane doesn't have the patience to like participate in the and that's why Cadsuane did not talk. And I thought Cadsuane not talking there was really smart, and it showed a level of maturity from Cadsuane that we haven't previously seen, because she didn't try and influence that meeting at all.
She smelled very proud.
Yes. And so I don't know. I thought, yeah, Moraine's return was a 10 out of 10 thing.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. 10 out of fucking 10.
Man, I am so interested in how this last book goes. I'm kind of hoping that some of the setup is done, and so some of the weirdness I haven't liked so far goes away, and we kind of get into what I have liked about Brandon Sanderson's writing of Robert Jordan series.
Well, they are all now at the fucking Blight. Like, they are all headed into the fucking, what do you call it? Like, they're headed towards some shit. You know, they're
but they have to turn around. It's a weird like.
What?
Well, they're going towards the Blight, but then they have to kind of like leave and go deal with the Sanchin stuff because everyone is gonna stop fighting with
Rand.
them. Yeah, maybe.
Just Rand is gonna go.
Yeah. Lanfear's Bush says, I liked how she called out Egwene about her dream. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Being like, hey, you prophesy shit. What have you prophesized lately? And Egwene's like, oh, you're right. Fuck.
Damn. No, you're right. Yeah.
No, there's good shit. There was good shit at the end here, and I really enjoyed parts of it. And then there's other parts that didn't work for me, and I am hoping there's less of those moving forward. And I'm hoping that the series deals... It's just talked about its own version of slavery too much to not deal with it. Because if it just tries to be like, don't worry about that. That was just a weird part of the world that we got into constantly, but had no resolution for. I'm going to be disappointed.
I agree, 100%.
And it doesn't feel like that's headed for resolution.
We'll see.
Yeah. If you like the video, like and subscribe to the channel. If you don't, hit the dislike button. Leave mean comments down below because the algorithm god is hungry and we must feed her. This algorithm goddess this episode is...
Moraine.
That's right. She's
Hell
back.
yeah.
Don't know where Tom or Matt are, but Moraine is back. If you want to follow us on the internet, you can. I'm at nerdynightly.
I'm at Claris Polaris.
Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and tell us all the things you hate about our show so that I'll read them live. If you want me to read about terrible things about myself, I will do that over there.
Yeah, we're also partnered with Misty Mountain Gaming.
We are. Misty Mountain Gaming is the best dice company in the world because they make good dice and I love them and I'm so excited about this partnership.
Yep. Use the code nerdynightly15 for 15% off your order.
Here's the Nerdy Nightly guarantee. The Misty Mountain dice will fuck you.
Probably.
If it's good for the story.
If it's yeah. They're all about the stakes.
The Misty Mountain Gaming dice know what the best role is for the story, and you just have to trust them.
Yeah, you just have to roll with it.
They're clinically designed to give you the best D&D experience narratively.
Sure.
Yeah.
Israel, and welcome back to the Nerd Table. Just catching up because I had to finish reading this morning. I'm so good to have book club again. Hell yes. I cannot believe we're on the home stretch.
Yeah.
Like, I like, genuinely can't. It feels weird.
Yeah.
Yep.
So strange.
Yep.
Let's add some sex.
Let's do it. It's Smut Corner.
Which is so funny. It's so...
All you prudes, get the hell out of here.
It's so weird in this moment because one of my least favorite things about this week is the sex scene. It
should have been all of them. That's the sex that we're adding. It should have been all of them.
They
all should have been there for Elayne.
Before Elayne found out about the burning.
Or Elayne is having a rough time and is like, guys, I cannot think about this because there's nothing I can do. Let's fucking go to Bone Town. You know what I mean? We're gonna get wet, we're gonna get hard, we're gonna all go at it, and it's gonna be great. And I think it's like rude to, not include everybody. Obviously I do think, Min has gotten the most of it. She's I don't know how that all worked out, but yeah, Min gets fucked whenever she wants. So it's only fair that they should all fuck together.
Sean says, can you say that
Fuck
legally?
together.
Like, I hope you can't get in trouble for saying clinical. I want to be really clear. There's no clinical way to make dice roll best for story. So I don't, I think that I think I can use the unreasonable defense there to say that, like, obviously, no judge would be like, no, he meant that. Mm-hmm. You guys know I'm joking, right?
Yeah, force them with a pregnant woman. Pregnant women get horny too. They also need
pregnant
sex.
Women get very horny.
Yeah. Fucking go for it. We don't judge here.
Never mind. I'm gonna stop.
You do.
It's smut corner. They get very wet. I don't know if you have sex with a pregnant woman, it is Swamp City. It's crazy.
Oh, that's not a nice way to put that.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Shrek?
What?
It's the opposite of that. Get in my swamp. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What do you... what? He says, what are you doing in my... No.
He says, get out of my swamp, and I'm saying that a pregnant woman's going, get in my swamp.
Sure.
It's a Misty Mountain down there. MistyMountainGaming.com. Use code nerdynightly for 15% off.
Wow.
They're going to drop us by Sunday, guys. We're done. We're done.
Wow. Yeah, sure. Anyways, honestly, it's the evening before the last battle. Everyone's should be fucking.
Oh, God.
There is a group orgy. That's why they cleared out the middle. It wasn't so that Rand could set up a meeting for his tent. It's so that, everyone can sit in a ring around and watch, and everyone who wants to get involved can get involved in the middle, and that was the strategic, planning, landscaping-wise, that Rand had in his brain.
The craziest part of that whole camp was where the Greens had their tent set up. With their warders?
Oh, the green warders? Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were the ones who started the orgy, right? They just strolled on into the middle and, dropped trow. And so this was,
we didn't start the orgy.
Oh, my God. I hate it here.
The green just starts the orgy.
Anyways,
as they fuck their warders. Anyway, all right. I think that's where we end it.
Do something.
Is there any other? No, come on. There's got to be another good sex scene. There's got to be one more good sex scene.
One more scene? I don't know. Fucking.
Antrel and Pavara fuck.
Yeah.
To find out if the double bond makes it double the pleasure.
Double the pleasure, double the fun.
Yeah. Bye, guys.